Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
McKenna will skate onto the rebound. He'll have a 2-on-1 shorthanded with speed. Pacheco the trailer. McKenna, what a move! McKenna, highlight of the night.
Well, magnificent Monday afternoon. How are you? Welcome to the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440. Sports1440.ca, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Hope you are having a lovely Monday. If you're a sports fan in Edmonton, you're probably pretty happy as a successful weekend. You look at the Edmonton Elks get their first victory of the season. Much needed, to say the least. Also, the Edmonton Stingers win their fifth in a row as they just continue to dominate. So that's obviously the great news for them. The Riverhawks had a big win as well. So, it's a pretty good weekend. If you like the last one. The Riverhawks find themselves currently in third place in the West Coast in the North Division, 3.5 games back of the Bellingham Bells at this point of the season. The Edmonton Stingers have moved. They're a half a game back of Calgary. They each have the same amount of wins. Calgary's just played one fewer game, so that's how close they are. And their next home game, which actually won't be until August, but their next time they're at home, they will be they'll be taking on the Bandits in Vancouver, who of course are currently sitting in first place in their division. So that's, you know what, it'll be good. You look at the Stingers now have a 4-game road trip. So they're on the road on the 11th, the 17th, the 20th, and the 25th, and then they're back home on August 1st. Meanwhile, the Elks, huge win. Trey Ford had a perfect QB rating. If you know how to calculate the rating, let us know. I've looked it up many times. I get it, but I don't get it, if that makes any sense. Either way, Trey Ford completed 15 of 17 passes, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. The Elks, it was, if you like entertainment, that game had all the entertainment you want. Over 500 passing yards, over 200 rushing yards for both teams, over 400 return yards. As the Elks had their first, do you remember the last Elks player to have a kick return of any sort for a touchdown? Let us know. 833-401-1440. If you know it. I know what it is, but I'm just curious, or who it was, I should say. If you remember who it was. It's been a while, not that long, but still it's been a while. And it was nice for the Elks to get a big win, to have some excitement in the building. Obviously, I think it's crucial for the team. They need some wins. I think the fans that are going are obviously, excited about where the team's at, but will be even better if you can get some wins. I'll give you a hint. The last Elk to do it, or remember the green? Well, actually, was an Elk who did it. Was a kickoff return, not a punt return. If you want to know, let us know. 833-401-1440. We have a lot of Kendall Lawrence answers. He's not the most recent guy to have a kick return for a touchdown. He might have the last punt return. I have to find out who the last punt return. But the last actual kick return of any sort was none other than Declan. Do you know who it is?
You're going to have to tell us on this one, Jason.
Deontez Alexander. He did it in October of 2023. The last member of the Green and Gold to take it to the house on a return game. But, hey, I think somebody called this one on Friday, Declan Kruger, if my memory's correct.
You did. Bold prediction of the day going into the Elks game on Sunday. Punt return touchdown. A crazy call. Obviously about 10 years since the last one. And then on top of that, only 8.4 yards per punt return this year given up by Ottawa. So, yeah, I said it. I tweeted it. Ball nowhere. Real ball knower, Jason Gregor.
Well, it was, you know what? It's just, he had the other one earlier this year called back on, was a real questionable block anyway, but you just should not make that block. Like, this guy a few years ago was the best return man in the game. And then last year, the Elks really didn't use him. They used him on offense, which was great. But I'm telling you, Javon Leake is a weapon. And when he's on special teams, you should be using him as much as you can. They obviously, him and Rankin, you can mix him in as a running back, no question. But, man, there's just something about a return. It gets the crowd into it. It's such a momentum booster. So I would have him returning punts and kickoffs as much as humanly possible. As we welcome to the show, Sean Brown joins us he's away last Monday for Canada Day, but Brown is back. Brownie, how you doing?
Good to be back. It's always nice to get away and kind of break up the routine. I don't know how you feel, but probably after, I would say, 4 days, I'm kind of ready to come back and just kind of get back into my routine.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, you went. Your son was at the Jets development camp, correct?
Yeah. So we had a lot of fun, actually. You know what? It's been a number of years since we've been back to Winnipeg. When he was playing spring hockey, they used to have the I think it was called the North American Classic, and so it's been a while. And you know what? We had a great time. Obviously, my son was well taken care of. I mean, Winnipeg did a super job, taking care of the kids on and off the ice and keeping them busy. And my wife and I just kind of went down to the Forks, and it was great. The weather was awesome. They had an outdoor kind of bar where they were selling beer and wine, and they had these Adirondack chairs, and you can kind of just sit around, and the vibe was great. There was just a lot of activity, a lot of people running, walking, just chilling out. So, you know what, from what I remembered last time I was in Winnipeg, I didn't think it was overly great compared to where they were at now. The city was just, downtown was buzzing, took in the Canada Day festivities there. And yeah, it was super.
And how was it in his experience? What did he say?
Yeah, he loved it. Like I said, it's nice. I was really happy. I think he had a great year, his first year at school. And I think he really put himself in a situation where he deserved it. And, from a parent's point of view, I was, happy that he got that opportunity. And it's nice. It's nice for kids to see, where they are amongst their peers and, other draft picks, and just the whole experience of just hearing what it's like to be a pro and what it takes from someone else other than yourself.
Yes,
right.
yeah.
I mean, you're a father, and when you have other people in their life that are, giving them good information and helping them along with growing up to be a good, human being, it's nice. And you know what, it's, I know what it was like for me to go to my first pro camp, and, you work hard as a junior, and you really don't know what it's like to get to that next level and what pros actually do. And what it takes, not only, when you're at the rink, but away from the rink, the commitment. So, they did a good job of, filling their day as far as having nutritionist talk, just a bunch of different people to give them, some insight on, what it's like to be a Winnipeg Jet and what it's like to be a pro, and the effort and the commitment that it takes. So I know that he was really happy. And you know what, I think there were some nerves going into it, because you just, it's, and that's the best part about sports, right? Is sending your kid away where they got to make new friends, a new environment, they get uncomfortable and they learn to get comfortable with it. And I thought he handled himself really well.
You so they have those development camps, and it's changed now for some teams, I think, in how they go about it. Some organizations have more, some have less. I think some have less on ice time than they used to have, and they have a little bit more teaching, nutrition, some off ice stuff that they go through, which I think is better. Like, you don't need to be scrimmaging in the summertime. Like, I'm not sure there's a lot of gain about that. Like, now there's a little bit more skill development in some of these, right? Like, they work on, okay, defenseman, let's work on some of this. Forward, let's work on this. Goalies, you work on this. We're not just kind of scrimmage all the time. Like, sure, you have to have some fun at some point, but I have noticed a change in kind of the approach the last few years for development camps for these organizations.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because the development camps weren't around when I was playing, and
No.
I always
barely was color TV.
But you went into camp and it was on,
Yeah.
and I just remember the nerves and the excitement, and you knew that you were going to be in one. Guys were hungry, and you were more or less gonna, make the team, or you're gonna kind of figure out where you were in a very short period of time. Where now these development camps, at first when I was watching it, I'm like, and of course they're not in any type of, they're in shape, but they're not obviously in shape. There's still some time here and some growth before they actually have to go back to their junior teams or school or wherever they're going. So they're not in the best of shape, but when I was watching it, I noticed the lack of physicality. Right.
Okay.
And it did ramp up. They did wind up in the last day playing. They did wind up playing 3-on-3, 4-on-4, and 5-on-5. And then you could start to see, it was getting a little bit chippier and a little bit more physical, but it was nothing, I just remember going to camp and just, being nervous and knowing that, you were probably going to get in. You're probably going to get in one. And I don't know how many fights there were in development camp. Obviously, I seen a tweet. There was one in Toronto's
there's not a
development
ton.
camp.
Yeah.
There's not a ton, but I also was thinking, in the back of my head, I was like, because there's such a lack of it, at least in this camp, you could really separate yourself, right? And
Yeah.
I'm assuming that they probably had conversations with the kids and being like, hey, you know what? We probably don't need to have a bloodbath out here. This is a development opportunity, but for me, or for someone that's trying to stand out and be different, I would probably, use that as an opportunity to maybe run around a little bit.
Yeah.
That's myself thinking, because there are kids obviously that were drafted and that part of their game, it's, sometimes when you're in a shinny and those type of environments, your game doesn't really shine. Right. So anyway, it was just different. It was good. Like you said, there was a ton of coaches out there. They separated the forwards and D. They eventually brought them together to work on some things, tactically. But it's the game's changed. There's so much skill. The goalies were out there. That's the one thing that I was like, the size of these kids.
Oh,
are huge.
dude, isn't it crazy?
The goalies are massive. That was the biggest thing. I was like, those guys go down and their like shoulders are almost to the crossbar, right? The goalies were huge. So it was, it's nice to see. And I know my son is, put in a lot of work, and this is something he really wants. And, to kind of be able to sit back and kind of, my parents went to my first camp in Boston, and, it just kind of, made me feel like, kind of reminisce a little bit of what, maybe he's thinking, what my parents were going through. And it's, my wife and I are just, having a couple of drinks, enjoying ourselves, going for walks. And there's a lot of dead time that you don't, I'm just like, man, my parents, sat around a lot and I can see why, my wife is, he's not calling, what is he doing? I'm like, he's busy, so it was very similar. It just kind of brought back memories of what it was like. For
no offense, Mom, but he's at a rookie. He's not calling you to give you an update. Hey, Mom, how are you? It's you. Like, no, he's here. I got a job. Does your son call you every day from work? No, they don't.
Yeah, so, absolutely. So I'm interested to see, they're going to touch base with the kids, and they did a lot of testing, and, so they'll probably share a lot of that information of kind of where they are amongst the group. And they'll probably share, what the next level looks like. Cause like I said, I thought I worked pretty hard as a junior player through the summer, but when you go to your first pro camp and you get around those, even though pro players weren't there were some American League players, but when you get around that environment, you really you really get an understanding of like the commitment, the dedication that it actually takes to play at that level.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, 100%. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. I do want to ask. I love random out of the blue texts that we get to the show at 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Greggs, I was wondering if Mr. Brown would be willing to elaborate on the classy earring he has in his hockey DB profile pic as a young draft pick of the Boston Bruins. How long did you keep it?
What's he zooming in there for? Yeah. So that was a pretty small earring. I forgot I actually even had it,
Because if you go on Hockey DB and you click on the photo, you can see, well, you only have two, funny enough. Right. There's one in Boston, and then there's one that's with you in Edmonton, and that's it. But you look
Okay.
at some guys, like they have, like it was funny. We had Curtis Lazar in last week, and
Yeah.
like Smiley, right? Like there's known that big smile.
Yeah.
But it's like 5 pictures recently in Hockey DB. It's not having. He's like kind of grinning, but not really. No
Yeah.
teeth. So I was kind of bugging about it. It's like, man, geez, because early on in his career, it's Mr. Smiley and all
Yeah.
these photos. But yeah, you see, it's kind of like you're like, you know, you're looking like a little timid guy in his first NHL photo at camp. And I do notice your head's almost turned a bit. So you're trying to hide that earring.
Oh,
even.
okay. You know what? Honestly,
How long did you keep
totally
it? How
forgot.
long did you keep it for?
I had it since probably like grade 6. I don't know
Yeah.
why.
But did you keep it in the NHL your whole playing career?
No, I don't. I think probably I probably got rid of it actually as soon as training camp, as soon as we actually went on the ice.
Oh,
'Cause,
okay.
But yeah,
for a fighter, you probably not want to get your earring ripped.
I just, you know what?
Did you ever have a dangling one?
No, I don't know if that was a diamond in that one. I can't remember. I don't know if you can zoom in and see
zirconian.
if it was
Zirconian, man.
exactly. But I think I had a diamond and a hoop. But
Oh yeah,
you know,
I do.
every once in
I
a
did
while,
hoops for a while.
did you?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so every once in a while, I don't know. Do you ever just poke a needle through it just to see
No,
if you
I
can
haven't
still?
done it in a while.
Oh,
Like
okay.
when I got my first earring, remember I was 16 and my mom was like, "Oh, you're not getting an earring. You got to face your grandfather." And I was like, "Okay, whatever, right?
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
16, whatever." So
Yeah.
I went into my grandfather. We played crib all the time, right? So
Yeah.
walk in the house, give grandma a hug, and boom, I'm playing. And we're playing for like 2 hours. He hasn't
Yeah.
said anything. Like I'm turning doing everything I can. I don't want to say it.
Yeah.
And finally, I can't handle it. I'm just like, hey, so he had 26 grandkids on my, like I had 20.
Oh my god,
27
yeah.
actually. So
Wow.
I had like 24 first cousins. And finally I was just like, hey, you know what? He looks at me and, you know what? Out of all my grandkids, it suits you the most. And I think my mom was kind of annoyed, right? Like, what?
Yeah.
So whatever. And then my grandfather passed away the next year. Then I got a second one for him because it's kind of like, don't judge people just because of how they look. Because that's what he's like.
Yeah.
I don't care. Like, whatever. It's an earring. It's a little thing in your ear.
Yeah.
Like, who
So where'd you
cares?
get the second one?
Right beside. I had 2.
Okay, why 2?
I don't know, the
if I like
second one
I don't like the 2.
The second one, well, I didn't keep the 2 very long, but at the time I made the decision. It was easier to get a second earring than get a tattoo. And so I was pretty close to my grandfather. So that the second one was more so like him just reminded me. And so I'd have different ones so you could see like different size, right?
Yeah.
The bottom of the first one was a little bit bigger. And then the second one was like it would see
Okay.
through it. So I had 2 for a while, a few years.
Okay. What?
Yeah.
No tattoo.
No, but I got virgin skin. No
Really?
tattoo.
Why not?
Because there was never anything that I was cared enough.
important,
Like
yeah.
I've seen so many people have
Yeah,
tattoo,
like the Tasmanian devil.
like they have tattoo regret, right?
Yeah.
Like how many ladies, you
Oh, the
know,
bullseye.
have
Yeah.
like one right in the middle of their back, like 19 they love, and then later on, like, God, this is the worst,
Yeah.
right? And then depends where you get your tattoo.
Yeah.
And like, you get your tattoo on somewhere around your abdominal area, right? When you're 18 and 19, yeah, it's high and tight. All of a sudden,
Yeah.
get a little porky, and now it just does. What is that really?
Yeah,
It's all
yeah.
stretched out. So no, I was just never. There was nothing. Even when my father died, I thought about it, but I just was thinking he'd be like, "What are you doing?" So I never got
Really?
one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm actually going through that with my kids right now because my son wants to get a tattoo.
Yeah.
I have a couple tattoos. It was actually interesting. So I thought it was kind of a unique idea. So I got my son's when he was born, I got his handprint on my shoulder, and I have my daughter's footprint on my other shoulder. And then I waited until they could actually print, and then I got their printing underneath it. And so anyway, when I got my son's handprint, I don't know, and we left like a couple days later to go to Kelowna on a trip, and he was young and getting kind of fussy. So we stopped off at a park, and I hadn't seen anyone, not that I thought I was going to be the only one, the original guy, but I hadn't seen anyone with their son or daughter's handprint. And the first person I see in a park, like 2 days later, this guy had them all over his neck, and I was kind of like, oh my God, like what are the odds of that? So I agree. I mean, there are some tasteful tattoos and that's what I'm trying to get through to my son. I'm like, hey, I'm not against you. I mean, he's old enough now to make his own decisions, but it is on your body for your entire life. Like it should have, and for me, I want some meaning to it. Like, because you don't want to regret it. And the one thing, I guess the one thing that I wish I did, because I have their hand and footprint on both shoulders, is I kind of wish I had a half sleeve. Right.
yeah.
And then kind of like have your story on half your arm. Because then if you're wearing a t-shirt, you can't really see it. So I don't know. That's kind of, but I agree.
Well,
but that forces you to keep in shape though, because you don't want to have,
I
you know what
see
I
that.
mean? You don't want to have.
So is it too late for you to get a half sleeve?
Well, I'm kind of done with it now.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I would like to, but I'm done.
You're done.
I'm done.
He's like, I don't
I
want
got
to.
my one.
I don't want to sit in the chair,
Yeah.
like, because it's a commitment. Like I know Livingston
Yeah.
came in at, like, I remember he was going for like a 6-hour session, and,
Yeah.
and I was just like not even to get the thing done. That was just the outline. I'm just like,
Yeah.
what? Like, so that's the other thing. Like
Yeah.
to sit still for 6 hours, I don't think I could do it.
It was funny too. So the one tattooist, the artist that I went to go see, the first guy, I got, I had to roll my son's hand out on what do you call that? A roller there for dough and stuff like that, right? To get the nice, perfect print. So I take it to this tattoo artist, and I'm like, hey, is this something, this is something that I want? Are you, would you be willing to kind of do it? And he's like, oh, that's kind of a cool idea, but he's like, I'm not going to do it. And I was like, well, what do you mean? Why not? And he's like, I have no kids. I'm not into kids. I don't like kids. So I'm not going to do that. And I kind of appreciate, it caught me off guard, but I appreciated his honesty, but I had to wind up going with a different guy just because the original guy that I had the consultation with just wasn't into kids. I just thought, you know what, that's neat. Like, I don't want you working on my body.
Well, yeah, I can see that. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not every artist paints everything the same, right?
Yeah.
Like certain photographers are really good at one type of thing, but they don't, like people who do family portraits. You've got to love kids, and you got to love being behind the camera, getting the kid to focus you and get the kid to smile and pay attention. And other people are like, I got no patience for this. You know what? I want to shoot dogs, or I'm going to go shoot outdoors or different things, right? So I can see that. Yeah, if you're a tattoo artist, if you're not going to be passionate about what you're tattooing, it's probably not going to be good. So coming up on the program today, loaded show, of course. So we'll talk about the Elks. Rod Peterson will join us, talk some CFL. Charlie O'Connor. McKenna is going to Penn State, so we'll talk about that and the Flyers. We got Nick Olczyk will join us. Utah Mammoth have had quite the offseason. They just declared, as did Buffalo, they are taking Jack McBain to arbitration just to get a contract similar to Boston and Bowen Byram. So we'll go to Utah. We got Speck. Also, we're going to hoping to have Mr. Killam on the show today at 5:20 as he has his first victory as a head coach in the CFL after many years as an assistant coach, special teams coordinator, etc. So we'll get to all that and more. 833-401-1440. It's the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Well, get ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at EWEL.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
And on the rocks, the party never stops.
Check it out.
Mondays, bingo tunes.
Tuesdays, tacos and tequila.
Wednesdays, it's wings and karaoke.
Shake what your mama gave ya with salsa lessons on Thursdays and the best Latin DJs.
Plus, live music every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, along with DJ Kenny K.
Hold on, let's not forget $5 happy hour, 7 days a week.
Your bar, your party. You're on the rocks.
On the rocks.
Jazz Brab and 118th.
Japa Machinery Group knows that XCMG may not roll off the tongue, but Japa's team will help keep your construction jobs rolling on time and on budget with heavy equipment sales and rentals. Visit japamachinery.com to find out more.
I'm Colin Livingston, president of Cantork. Since 2016, we've been at the forefront of hydraulic torque wrenches in Canada. I'm delighted to share our latest venture, in-house production for quicker turnaround, superior quality, and heightened versatility. Experience excellence at cantork.com.
Canada's biggest appliance sale is at the Brick. Get up to $1,000 off select major kitchen appliances. Convertible fridge freezers start at just $199. Barbecue start at just $299. Get up to 60% off clearance models and below-cost scratch and dent items in-store only. Plus, pay 0% interest on appliances until 2029. Best of all, they'll beat any competitor's advertised price. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
You have a choice, and it's a hard one. GMC employee pricing or 0% financing at Wolf GMC Buick. A hard choice, but also super awesome. Get GMC employee pricing on our Sierra lineup, from the Sierra half-ton to the heavy duties. If you have cash, get discounts over $12,000 on many of our Sierras, along with GMC pricing. Or choose 0% financing on our Sierra half-ton lineup. And what a great selection of GMC Terrains and fabulous Buick SUVs to pick from. So many choices. But one thing's for sure, you are getting the best deal at Wolf GMC Buick.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need: Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Need the perfect ride? The Golf Cart people have it. They offer a wide selection of new and used models from top brands like Club Car, Yamaha, and E-Z-Go. Whether it's a lifted cart for adventure or a sleek ride for the course, they'll find your match. Customize with accessories or choose a ready-to-go option. Trusted by Albertans since 1997 for quality. Visit golfcartpeople.com to find your cart and hit the road or fairway your way.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Crystal Glass. Your clear choice for residential windows, locally manufactured and installed. Crystal Glass provides a beautiful product and incredible customer services for all your residential needs. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca for a quote.
From puck drop to kickoff, it's the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
$2:28. Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Sean Brown, Declan Kruger, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca. It is the Gregor Show, as always, presented by PlayAlberta.ca, where, of course, you can get in casino, live dealer, lottery, instance, and, of course, sports. It's your one-stop shop for all of it. Have fun. And tomorrow's Lotto Max, $65 million up for grabs at PlayAlberta.ca. The Elks with a huge win yesterday, a much needed win for the franchise, I believe, for the coaching staff. Lots of guys with their first, for Mark Kilman's first victory as a head coach, JC Sherrod first as a DC, Grimes first as a secondary coach. So lots of firsts, right? Big for them. The first kick return since 2023, first punt return, though, since like 2015 for the Elks. It was an entertaining game. And our next guest, of course, a huge fan of the CFL to break down what is going on around the league as we get to our CFL report, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, home of the no payments, no interest for 1 year on your AC unit. Stay cool all summer at legacyheating.ca, as we are joined by Rod Peterson from the Rod Peterson Show. RP, how you doing, my man? I think we got you. Maybe got you muted, RP, there or what?
I got you now. I'm good, Gregor. How you doing, guys? Sean, good to see you.
Oh, I'm good. It's sunny out there. I like it. Nice. RP, let's start with, like, what a weekend really for the CFL. When you consider what makes the CFL great is the return game. Like, you actually can have returns, and there was no shortage of touchdown returns this weekend. I loved it. No,
well, first of all, I just want to tell you that my dad said when I was a teen, if you get an earring, don't come home. Just so you know that.
Different times, ARP, different times.
I was enjoying your discussion. So, yeah, look, first week of the season, we're through 5 now. The first week I was 4-0, then I was 3-1 in picks, and then this weekend I blew it. And I'm like, these games are getting harder and harder to pick. I did have Edmonton to win, but I don't know what's going on. It's supposed to get easier, not harder. And the special teams component, that third of the game in the CFL, really throws things into a kink, doesn't it? And Javon Leake, you know how I know your thoughts on Chris Jones, and you're the president of the fan club, Jason, but he signed Leake, right? That was a big signing.
Oh yeah. Hey, no, hey, Jones is a coach is no problem. Just didn't love a lot of his management stuff there. But hey, Javon Leake has been really good for them. Probably should be his second, because his first return, there was, I thought the blocking call was kind of weak, but either way, that's a rookie who you should realize how fast your guy is at that point. And that block was unnecessary. So that would have been 2 in 4 games, which is pretty impressive. But what about Trey Ford? I know QB rating isn't the greatest stat, Rod, but he had a perfect QB rating of 158, 15 for 17, 212 yards. So he's averaging over 12 yards a reception, and completes 88% of his passes, 2 touchdowns. And really, I don't even if he threw a bad ball in that game. Like, he's not really scrambling lately, which I think is more him than it is the coaching staff. And he wants to show everybody he can be a pocket passer, but he's starting to look more comfortable there.
Yeah, well, QBR, I go by a lot. CFL and NFL have different factors as to what determines that, but it's a very accurate reading of how the guy played, right? And by the way, when you talk about that called back punt return in week 1, that was the turning point of the game. That could have been the Elks' first win, right, in week 1. Yes. So you could see that they're coming along. I hate to say this to your viewers and Elk fans, because I love Mark Killam. I like Ed Hervey, and I think Chris Morris is cool, but I still think they're going to be 5th. We saw them getting better, but that's still a very difficult division, right? They're going the right way. They've made the right decision in Trey Ford, and I love teasing you about Chris Jones, because you're right. What went on with Trey Ford under the Chris Jones regime was just wrong. And I don't really know why they did that, or what were the reasons behind them basically stifling him. But you know what? The past is the past.
Yeah.
They got a legitimate star quarterback here on their hands in Trey Ford, and hopefully a quarterback for years. He seems happy in Edmonton. And listen, I often say, NFL or CFL, if you got a quality head coach, quality quarterback, it's the backbone of a team. Pete Carroll, Russell Wilson, Andy Reid, Mahomes, and I think you guys have that. I really do. It's just building, and it's fun to watch.
Yeah, well, no, there's definitely that. Like, it is, they're on the rise. I think, their defense RP is still, I thought it would be better. If I'm being bluntly honest, I thought it would be better. Now they do have a rookie DC. They got a rookie secondary coach, and I wonder if that plays into it, because in week 1 they were pretty aggressive and they got burnt twice, and since then they haven't been as aggressive. And you go up against Nathan Rourke, I think you're going to have to be a bit more aggressive this weekend.
Oh yeah, well, for sure. Well, couple things. I mean, there's a pretty wise guy that's given me a lot of tips over the years. You might have heard of his name, Wally Buono. And he said, early season, if you're trying to make picks, just to gauge how things are going to go, the teams with first year head coaches, or just a first year, a guy might have been in coaching for 50 years, but if he's in his first year with your team, it's going to take a long time.
Yeah.
So what do you got there? Jordan McSimic, JC Sherritt, everything's new. Right. A lot of the faces are the same, and it's really nice to see Jake Serezna back. He should have never left. There's no doubt that the talent is there, but these are all new systems. They are still coming together. And this is not, if you're doing it right as a coordinator, it's not 18 individual games. You're building as the season goes along. Right. So what you're seeing now isn't what you're going to see at Labor Day, isn't what you're going to see in November. And that's George Cortez taught me that. So that I just say, let's try not to be too judgmental early in the season, throw the baby out with the bathwater. The talent's there. That's the main thing.
Rod, what did you think of Killam's decision? And obviously it was communicated before the game to kind of bring in Cody Fajardo, to get some snaps and some touches.
Did he explain that after?
Because no, not really. They just said, well, it was our plan, and they act like professionals, but I'm like, what? I'm sorry. Yeah. I didn't agree with it.
Well, I was watching the panel, and Paul LaPolice said it well. I don't know if you guys were at the game or not. I was watching it on TV, but Paul LaPolice goes, we did that way back in 2008 with Ken Miller in Saskatchewan in 2008. And I'm like, yeah, I was calling the games. We couldn't figure it out then. And they came back in the second half of that Elks game yesterday, and Suter said that on television. He's like, yeah, Ken Miller never explained it properly either. Why are you doing this? I never got a reasonable explanation. Ken Miller, pretty good head coach, and I think Mark Killam is going to go down in history as a pretty good head coach. But I'd like to know why you were throwing the guy in there, because it does throw things out of. It's not a common thing.
No,
it's not a common. It's not been explained well why they did it.
Yeah, like you can say, well, we plan to do it. Okay, but why'd you plan to do it? And like you're up 22-3. Your quarterback hasn't thrown an incompletion. Like, I don't care if you have a pregame plan. At that point, you're like, well, maybe now's not the time, because guess what? They did it, and then Ottawa scored the next 15 points or 14 points to get right back in the game, and Edmonton did nothing for a while. And then they finally got another touchdown, and then the next drive, they did it again. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, Rankin just scores a 74-yard. Like, momentum's a thing, RP.
I agree, and they had good momentum. Like, I mean,
Yes.
I'm trying to I think maybe, they do it to throw the defense off kilter or whatever, but who was the NHL coach? I want to say it was Mike Keenan that would like switch goalies in the middle of the game.
Yeah.
Was it Keenan?
Yeah, he did it a few times. Yeah.
And why? Never quite figured that one out either. So it's just these guys sometimes outthink themselves. But I got to think it's just to throw a curveball at the defense would be all that I could think. There'd be no other explanation.
Well, and I could see it if Trey Ford had been scrambling lots, but basically Trey Ford was a pocket passer that entire game. And that's what Cody Fajardo is, right? Like, he's not. So it's not like if you have a pocket passer and then you bring in a scrambler for a few, I've seen that sometimes. Teams will do it. They bring in this guy because, now we got to run play option. Now you got to worry about it. But that's not the case. So it didn't hurt them. They won the game, but still, I wondered a little bit about it. Now, I do want to ask RP about a few of the other games around the league. We saw, Hamilton and Toronto on Friday night. Bo Levi Mitchell, 5 touchdown passes. What do you make of the Argos? Like, obviously, most of their D-line is in Edmonton. And, are the Argos that bad? Or is Hamilton maybe getting better?
Well, number one, there's so much turnover on a roster in every league now, but especially the CFL. I think it's magnified because there's only 9 teams, right? That is not the same team that won the Grey Cup last year. And everybody talks about their backup, Nick Arbuckle, starting games right now. He also did win the Grey Cup last year, but they don't have Kadeem Carey in the backfield. You mentioned the D-line's been vacated. They're still coming together. Can I caution you? How many times have I said this is early in the season? So it's a new group up front on the D-line for Toronto. I think they're going to be there in the end. Them to win that game. The thing that's annoying me a little bit is Bo Levi Mitchell and the fact that he looks 28. I mean, I didn't watch that game Friday night. I was broadcasting baseball myself, but I watched the highlights, and I keep referring to Chris Jones because we were together for a long time. But he talked about Bo being a jugs machine, how his arm is just automatic. You always know what you're going to get. There's no off-kilter throws. You know what I mean? Especially the deep balls. And he looked unbelievable Friday night with 5 touchdowns. And I'm just sitting there going, why did Calgary get rid of this guy? That's the thing I don't understand. And so they were 7-11 last year. And, a lot of changes were made in Hamilton. Jim Barker's got him picked to win the Grey Cup. I was thinking of getting him submitted for drug testing. But with the way Bo Levi's playing, how can you argue that? They look really good Friday night. I didn't see that coming.
No, the thing is, like, I could have made a strong argument that he probably could have won the MOP last year. Like, he had a really good year. They just, they didn't make the playoffs, so I guess why you don't do it. But, I look at Hamilton, and when you put up that many passing yards and he's still completing passes, and when you look around the league, like, there's not many, there's really him and Zach Caleros, right? Like, all the other guys, like Vernon Adams still hasn't, he hasn't been around as like a top end starter, right? Nathan Rourke had a great year, then he left and came back. So he's still not done it year after year. And those guys historically in the CFL, if he can stay healthy, he's going to give him a huge chance to win. Like, look, Nick Arbuckle's leading in passing yards. Now, I know he's played a few more games than everybody else, and he's a guy who's been around a long time. Like, there's just still something about having a veteran poised at that quarterback position.
And it's every football league. People talk about it's a quarterback league. I'm like, what are you talking about? NFL or CFL? Both. If you don't have somebody, you're dead. Right. And that's why we see the backups with all the games, man games experience. Like McLeod Bethel Thompson's a backup. Cody Fajardo's a backup. Jake Mayer's a backup. Jeremiah Masoli's a backup, which, by the way, please don't get me going on the All-Star or the MVP, MOP award last year, because it really ticks me off because I still don't know what the definition of it is. Bo Levi Mitchell leads the league in passing. I think it was 5,000 yards plus. And they said, well, his team made the playoffs. I'm like, or missed the playoffs. I'm like, that's not his fault.
Yeah, he's not the MVP.
And by the way, if whatever your definition of it is, you might as well engrave Nathan Rourke's name on that trophy this year, because the Lions, if they don't have Nathan Rourke, they don't win. And if they do have Nathan Rourke, they do win. It's that simple. That's the difference. You might as well give it to him right now if that's what your definition is, which, by the way, he's probably worthy of it. But how are we defining this?
Rod Peterson joins us. Rod, what about, speaking of quarterbacks, you concerned at all the riders? Now, Harris, another concussion, unfortunately for him. And you know what? Sadly, when you start to get that many concussions, this one didn't seem to take as hellacious of a hit as some of the previous ones. How concerned are you about the Riders quarterback and, the drop off if they got to go to Jake Maier for an extended period of time?
Well, they already beat BC with Jake Maier, and granted, they didn't have Nathan Rourke. They got Calgary in here on Friday night, which, by the way, I'm in Saskatchewan for the summer again, and it's glorious. Trevor Harris will come back at some point. And, you can imagine, Jason, you've been here. The Riders are 4-0, the only unbeaten team in the league. Speaking of penciling things in, you might as well pencil in Saskatchewan Roughriders in the Grey Cup right now, because everybody's just going crazy about it. They got a great team, and I caution people that they started 4-0 last year and went 5-8-1 the rest of the way. Yeah. And Trevor Harris was hurt for a big part of that.
Exactly.
But he came back in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Won a playoff game, the Western semifinal at Mosaic Stadium, went to Winnipeg and lost, and it wasn't his fault. They got blown out in that one. Their defense didn't show up. So Trevor always gets hurt, but he also always comes back.
Right.
So I'm not that they got a really good football team, man. And it's not even AJ Ouellette in the backfield is just hammering people. This is what he was signed for. Their defensive front's probably the best in the CFL. I got to give them a lot of credit. And to be honest, with Corey Mace, Mark Mueller, and Trevor Harris, they're a pretty easy group to cheer for.
Rod, always good to catch up with you, buddy. Enjoy the summer heat of Saskatchewan. We'll talk to you again soon.
Good seeing you guys. Thank you.
There you go. That's Rod Peterson from the Rod Peterson Show, aptly named RP, a longtime voice of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, knows the league incredibly well. And I'm interested to see, because they're right. They did beat BC, but BC neither team had their starting quarterback. And hey, it makes a big difference for sure. So, you look at Edmonton, you got Saskatchewan and Calgary. So it's a battle of first place in the West. And then you got BC and Edmonton. And for the Elks, you get a win, you just stay in the race. And that's what they need, because I firmly believe they will be a better team in the second half, more experience from the coaching staff, everything else from the players. It'll matter. But this Sunday's game, man, this is a huge win for Edmonton. And now they got another opportunity. Suddenly you win 2 in a row. You got a little swagger, but it just keeps you within striking distance.
I wanted to ask you about the game, Montreal there in that brawl. You
got to be a suspension coming. Yeah,
but how does a guy, when I rewind it back, he wasn't even playing. The guy, one of the guys on Montreal wasn't Montreal. I think that was the guy that started it.
Well,
and why are they in a game with that much, testosterone and physicality? Why are they ever walking off together?
Well, because that's in that stadium that you have to walk down the same tunnel to get to the dressing room.
What a bad setup.
Well, it's true.
Yeah.
Right? And so you probably should have it. And it's hard. Usually, the teams walk off and they're almost side by side. You go down the right wall. The other guy goes down the left wall, and away you go. Because they're trying to think, hey, your emotions should. But supposedly, I read the story. Someone was they thought maybe get into the dressing room because guys were chirping. And I'm like, hey, I get that it's an emotional game. But the minute the buzzer sounds, right, the horn goes, you've got to be like, okay, serenity now. It's hard. And if you're not, then walk the other way. But there's suspensions coming here. But I'll say this, too often when people talk about a fight, now those are legit punches. That was an actual fight. That's a melee. You don't see it very often. And you know what? Lots of people are talking about it. But that's unless they completely revamp, you'd have to do a whole refurbishing of the facility to avoid that.
I disagree with you. When you're emotional and you're playing and in between periods or half times or whatever.
No, but this is the end of the game.
Well, even at the end of the game. Right?
I'm not saying it's easy, but you know how it is, Brandon. There's still, you being emotionally charged up.
Yeah.
But guys lose the Stanley Cup final, they still shake hands. They're not losing there is a way to somewhat control it. And if you're not controlled, that's when if you're okay, I'm still on tilt here, then don't walk into a position where your tilt can be easily.
I agree, but I wouldn't put that in the players. As a league, I would make sure I'd have something in place.
But how many
to take that emotion out of it?
Yeah, I know. To me, they play this way. It's not like this is the first game that they've ever
Yeah.
played there, and no one's ever walked down the tunnel.
Yeah, it's funny. It's actually funny. And when I played over in Austria with our friend there, Manny Viveros, we were playing. I think it was Innsbruck, and that's the way we left too. Both benches were side by side, and we had to, go off and kind of be somewhat civil.
Yeah.
And there was this one guy this Bellissimo guy was just driving me crazy all game, and I just waited on the bench until he walked, and in the grandstands there was a little bit of room in between, and so we're walking off, and I waited and just clocked him. I was like, and I remember because Manny
Did you get suspended?
No, because no one. I waited until there was no cameras, no nothing, and the security they don't care. But I remember Manny left early because he was the coach, and he's in the room, and this melee happens, and he came up to me after and was like, "Hey, Brownie, like, what happened?" I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure. The guy just came at me, coach. I had to defend myself.
But I was like, hey, you know what? If you want to cause trouble on the ice, because Europe, you can, I was like, forget,
eventually
I'm gonna get a piece of you.
Yeah, eventually you got to pay the piper. I get it. So there you go. Sean Brown can't keep us cool. Quick break. We'll return on the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
The sun is shining, the weather's warm, and some of Edmonton's favorite sports are back in season. If you're looking for the cherry on top of a perfect summer day, check out Play Alberta to experience casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Download the Play Alberta app today and deposit $20 or more with promo code SUMMER to claim a $100 casino bonus. That's promo code SUMMER for a $100 casino bonus on us. Redeemable once per Play Alberta account. Remember, if you gamble, please use your game sense.
Mr. Rooter rides in a hot air balloon.
Oh, wow. You can really see it all from up here. The river crossing the city like a water line, the Walterdale like PVC pipes, and the cars circling the Anthony Henday like waste swirling a toilet bowl. Which reminds me, which way to the bathroom?
There's no toilet in a hot air balloon.
Well, I will have to remedy that.
For a plumber who soars above the others, trust Mr. Rooter. Excavators, loaders, lifts, compaction equipment, and more. Find the XCMG construction equipment you need. Available for rental or sale at Japa Machinery Group. Japa, helping build Alberta from the ground up for 50 years. Visit japamachinery.com.
Summit Restaurant, located in the heart of the Silent Ice Center and just minutes from South Edmonton Common. Summit is your destination for exceptional house-made pizza, delicious entrees, and expertly crafted cocktails. Experience the perfect blend of flavor and ambiance in a modern setting. Join us for a straightforward yet elevated dining experience where our commitment to quality speaks to every bite and sip. Make Summit Restaurant your next night on the town.
The dog days of summer means baseball. Every weekend, Sports 1440 carries Toronto Blue Jays ball games. Ben Shulman will have the call. Grab a cold one and tune in this weekend to Blue Jays baseball on Sports 1440.
They are late, tasting just so right. You can order Oodle Noodle at oodlenoodle.ca, delivering you the news almost right away. Remember, you can order Oodle Noodle at oodlenoodle.ca. So stay on your couch all day and order oodlenoodle.ca. Oodle Noodle.
You got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need, Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
What does excellence truly mean, and how does it guide your choices? At Volvo Cars Edmonton, excellence isn't just a goal, it's their standard. They shine in every aspect, from top-tier customer satisfaction in sales and service to impressive inventory, strong customer loyalty, and prices that are tough to match. Experience the dedication to quality firsthand at Volvo Cars Edmonton. Great vehicles, better service. Only at VolvoCarsEdmonton.com.
Since 1963, Ashaw Concrete Products has been helping Albertans complete projects of all sizes. The highest quality ready mix and gravel, septic tanks made to last, Prompt delivery. Like I said, they're always happy to help. In fact, they'll even find you a nearby concrete finisher for your next project. Maybe it's a foundation for a home or a shop floor, or you're thinking decorative concrete. Nice. They'll recommend someone as dependable as Bashaw Concrete Products. Visit bashawconcrete.com and follow them on Facebook.
Alberta is already the economic engine of Canada, but we could be so much more prosperous if Ottawa would work with us, rather than attack our economy and jobs. The status quo needs to change. But how? The Alberta Next panel wants to hear from you on how we can best strengthen Alberta's sovereignty and position within a united Canada. Please visit alberta.ca/next and tell us what you think Alberta's next step should be. A message from the Government of Alberta.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantork. We offer sale, rental, repair, and calibration of hydraulic, pneumatic, and battery-powered torque wrenches, stud tensioners, and flange maintenance equipment. Order today at cantork.com.
Pro sports, local sports, minor leagues, you got it all. It's the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
250. Welcome back, Jason Gregor, Sean Brown, Declan Cougar, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca. Some other news. We've talked a lot of Elks, but it's official. I talked about it a while back, but Dustin Schwartz will not have his contract renewed with the Edmonton Oilers. So for the first time since, I guess November of 2014, the Oilers will have a new goalie coach. My understanding from a few sources that a few interviews have happened. There's more. What I can't confirm that, and I don't know this, but I did a lot of research over the weekend about the goalie coach position. And I've uncovered that the Edmonton Oilers need to look bigger than just a goalie coach. They need to build a goalie department and kind of get in with some of the others. French, you know who has the deepest goalie department in the NHL? The Florida Panthers. Like the Edmonton Oilers this past season are one of the top revenue generating teams in the entire NHL. Right? They made huge money. Anybody who had season tickets, who had playoff tickets, knows how much the increase was. Okay. The Oilers generating a lot of money. They make a lot of jersey sales. They do a very good job. There's no salary cap on coaching. This is the time where the Edmonton Oilers need to look at building it out. So doing a lot of research, calling people in the goalie community, I've uncovered Anaheim, Calgary, Colorado, Florida, LA, Montreal, Nashville, the Rangers, Pittsburgh, Toronto, and San Jose have like legit goalie departments. New Jersey still has 4 people. Scott Clemenson left last year, wasn't replaced, but they still have one. So like they got 4 people. That's what a goalie department is. Like some will have somebody running the top of it, like Mitch Korn or Benoit Allaire in New York, and then they have guys below, right, working in your American League team, and it's really like a whole department to help develop your goalies. It's a unique position. It's still one that's reliant on your defensive system. I think we've learned that, but it's still very important. And when you look at the importance of it, and you look, the only thing stopping an organization from doing it is cost. So don't be cheap. Right? Like, don't sit there and say, you know what, we're going to have the best nutritionist and the best chef. And I agree, that's all great. But we're going to kind of cut corners on our goalie coach. Why? Why would you, like, I heard like Detroit is, and you know, it's funny. There's a few things because I reached out to lots of different people in the coaching community, because to be in the goalie coaching community, because the goalie coach, it's still kind of a difficult one to understand at times. I've learned lots from Woodley over the years and gained a lot of contacts from it. So talked to lots of different people, and you know, just there's certain teams that have a better approach to how they view goaltending. Some teams still, like, you know, their GM or somebody, you know, they didn't want to, you know, they said, hey, don't name the name. So I got to keep that private. But there's a few names out there of organizations where they're like, yeah, we don't really want to be, you wouldn't want to be a goalie coach there. It's almost a no-win proposition. Now, Edmonton's not that. Edmonton has a pretty good relationship. Dustin Schwartz was here for a long time, right? They had Sylvain Rodrigue, who, by the way, I'm hearing is going to get an interview for the job. He's in Florida right now, right? And, you know, he had a good rapport in the American League with Stuart Skinner. So my understanding is that he's a guy who's going to be on the list. And I've talked about this before, Brownie. You've got Ian Clark in Vancouver. Now, Ian Clark, before he was in Vancouver, was in Columbus. Columbus had a goalie that they drafted, made it to the NHL 6 out of 7 years. And Ian Clark was in there helping develop those guys. Now, different levels of development, but I don't care. You made it to the NHL. That's a pretty good pipeline of goaltenders.
Yeah.
Right now, Bobrovsky is obviously at the top end of that list, but they've had a lot of other good goalies go through it. You've got Sean Burke, who I think my understanding is from these people, they think if you presented it to him to be the head of your goalie department, it's something he'd strongly consider. So there's 2 guys. Now, if they don't go that far, which I think would be a disappointment, but let's say they don't, then you look and say, well, who's goalie coach names? There are 2 names of younger guys who came up from every guy I talked to. Who are the better goalie coaches out there? And they would, I have a long list of about 10 or 12 guys, but I try to break it down to the ones whose name came up the most. 2 guys' names came up from everybody. Mackenzie Skapski, who's currently the AHL head coach for the Calgary Flames. And he's a disciple of the Benoit Allaire coaching tree for goaltenders. And he worked with Dustin Wolf, and they say, man, they believe he had a lot of say in it. Now, and I was like, well, why wouldn't Calgary just hire him? Well, they got Jason LaBarbera, and he's a very good goalie coach. They like him. So it's just a position of, well, we got our goalie coach, so, it's not going to happen. Sometimes you're a backup quarterback, you're really good, but you like your starter, and the backup goes somewhere else and has some success. Mackenzie Skapski is a guy, in hearing that's a guy that, at bare minimum, they should be interviewing. If they're only going to go with the goalie coach, they should look at him. Another name, Dan Stewart, came up quite a bit. Marco Marciano in Laval in the American League. Another one whose name came up. Some names of the past. Now, these are my own. I did some research. Stefan Waite, remember him?
Yep.
NHL goalie.
Yeah.
Won 2 cups in Chicago. Then he was with Carey Price for a long time. Now, he's been out of the league for a few years, but he's a name. And I didn't talk to him myself, but I talked to other guys who I know he was trying to get in here recently. He'd like to get back into the NHL. So Stan Bowman's got, at worst, I believe it should be Chris Knobloch's hire at the end of the day. But goalie coach is a little different because a lot of head coaches don't really understand it. So you might have a little bit more say from others to at least bring him in, but then you interview him, right? And if your GM has connection to him, he'll know what type of guy he is. So that's good. And then the other one is Pete Aubry. He's currently in the NCAA, formerly in Chicago's American League team. Another guy whose name came up from a few different people. So I have I listed in my article about 6 different guys. And so here's my question to you. When you look around, and when I named 14 teams that have a real goalie department, give me one reason why the Oilers don't have a goalie department in 2025.
Cost. That's it. That's cost.
Okay, but that's not a good reason when you're one of the biggest.
Well, yeah, I know.
Basically, to me,
yeah,
you're being cheap.
Yeah.
When you're one of the highest, and the Oilers, depending on where you read, might have been the number 1 revenue generator this past year because of how deep they went in the playoffs and all the money they make in the playoffs and ticket sales, everything else. I still think it's hard to beat Toronto, my own personal opinion, because they just got a bigger audience, right? They got way more fans. You sell more merchandise, yada, yada, yada. But when you look at and you can save some costs because your American League team's right there. Everything's great. But the Oilers are right up there. If they're not first, they're definitely top 3. And we're talking hundreds and hundreds, right? Over 350 mil. So if your player salary is 88 million, then I know you got building costs and everything, whatever. Why you're cheaping out on a goalie department? What's it going to cost you? $1 million a year if you have 4 guys?
Yeah, I can't think of a reason why they wouldn't. I mean, you're bang on all your points, and I think no different than watching Winnipeg and knowing some guys that are in the industry of development with some of the other NHL teams. It's something you got to be able to bake your own goodies, right? You got to draft your players. You got to have a good development program, for your forwards. You got to have a good development program, when in your development program, I think you should have a forward that works with the forwards. You should have a D that works with your D. And like you said, multiple people, along with your NHL goalie coach, you should have a goalie side to it, because now, you don't know really what you have, and you look for a league that's kind of a copycat league, and there's other teams that are doing it, and the teams that are doing it that seem to be successful. If I'm in an organization, I'm just trying to look at what they're doing and being like, okay, well, this is, they're obviously having success with this. This is something that we need to do. I know their development program is come a long way. For a while there, when Billy Moores and Rick Carrier, I think they did, I think they were on par and building it. And for whatever reason, they kind of got away with it. I don't know if it was cost or, you would hope to think it doesn't come down to that. But anyway, it's something that I think they've looked at. I think it's something that they're changing. And I think it's something you need to change. Like I said, talking to other guys that, are doing it throughout the league. And, I know that they're out there with their prospects continuously working on, helping them, with their day-to-day living and how they're, how they're eating, how they're just how they're going about their day, and just another resource to help these kids figure it out and what it takes to get to the next level. So, it's unfortunate, somebody's always got to, eventually you're going to lose your job eventually. I think Schwartz is a good goalie coach, and I think he'll probably, I would assume that if he wanted to, he'll probably get another opportunity, but, I think it's a good decision. I think it's a good decision for the Oilers to try and change it up, right? Come in, a different voice. I think you got a young goalie that has a ton of upside, has got back to has been to the Stanley Cup final twice. I really think that Stuart Skinner has, a lot of growth, and just, I love the way his demeanor is. I love his approach, and he seems like a guy that's just continually wanting to grow and get better. So I think this is going to help him, going to help the organization. And it'll be, if it comes down to money, it'd be a little bit disappointing. I guess the one thing too, I mean, I'm assuming maybe you were there at the development camp.
Yeah.
Right. I kind of thought the Oilers, did they bring many free agents? Right. Because I mean, with their run and lack of draft picks, I kind of expected them to kind of bring in some more.
Well, they had
European, more older guys.
Well, the older guys are 22, 23. They're not going to come all the way from Europe for that camp, right? Like Matt Savoy came here. Yeah. But you talk, because when you talk to a player, and I've talked to players about this, so you're in the midst of your off-season training regime. And now you're going to leave for, basically it's going to be 10 days to interrupt it. You're Josh Szymanski, you're 23 years of age, and these other guys, they will come over, Brownie. And I think you'll see some of these European guys come over in mid-August to late August when the Oilers start their skates.
Yeah.
And that's what they'll do. Because these guys have been pros for, you're 20, Lepidin's 26. He ain't coming over here. He's played how many years in the Finnish Elite League?
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to gain anything doing the drills that they're doing in these development camps with 18, 19, 20-year-olds. I don't.
Yeah. So you're saying they're going to bring him into main camp? Or just bring him?
Oh, no, of course. Well, they're signed. Of course they're coming to the main camp.
Okay. But I just thought they would bring in some other, some older guys that haven't been drafted. It just seems like that's kind of when you lose that many, when you've traded that many picks and you don't have that many.
But they more so for development camp. Yeah. You bring in unsigned guys who are junior and NCAA players. Mm-hmm. That's normally what comes in. Mm-hmm. Very few teams, because those older guys don't want to come. Mm-hmm. Right? If I'm 23 and I've played 3 years of pro in Europe, why am I coming to a that development camp?
Yeah.
I can see why they wouldn't.
So why is there? I think it's interesting. I think Chris Knobloch would have, as much say at bringing in a goalie coach as he would, a regular power play or just an overall assistant coach. I don't think it would just be an organizational thing, right? I mean, these guys, work together. Hockey's a small world too, right?
Yeah,
everyone knows who's who and who's good and who's, who they want. Right. But I would think that Knobloch would have just as much say on bringing in a goalie coach as management.
Well, I think the coach should have a say in it, but to a point, right? Because you don't know, what's the personality. Yes. And that's super important. And that's why. So I think, but would he be able to do a great short list? I think when I create the short list of guys I want to interview, I think other guys in the organization will say assistant coaches are different. Right? Because you've worked with those guys, you talk to another coach, okay, this guy's a really good power play guy, okay, fine. But goalie coaches, there's so many different tendencies, right? Every coach has a little bit different of a strategy and personality. And then you can't bring in a coach whose style and what he feels is great doesn't jive with your NHL goalie. Because you can't ask him to change his whole style.
Yeah.
Right. So that's why I think you need a goalie department. So because I looked at the Edmonton Oilers, look at their goalies right now. Look at how many they have under the age of 26. Stuart Skinner's 26. Connor Unger's 23. Samuel Johnson's 21. Nathaniel Day's 20. These guys are all signed. Then you have recent draft picks who are 19 in Emil Vinny and Daniel Salonen, right? These guys are 19. So you want to, if you have a proper goalie department, you're working with those guys, developing things, saying, hey, you know what? We believe that this is going to help you as an NHL goalie. So we can start working on that when you're in junior, when you're in in Finland Division 2 or wherever. And then when you come over here, you got a better chance at it.
Yeah.
Right. Because now you've had a chance to work at it. And so I think when you only have an NHL goalie coach and you bring him in, maybe they work in your development camp, they don't have time to oversee these guys all the time. Like Schwartz, I think, like he never is leaving the NHL. So you have a second coach who's in the American League. But if you have a goalie department, you're head of your department, Brownie. It's no different than Sean Brown has a hockey school camp. No offense. Sean Brown comes in. I know how Sean Brown works. You can teach Jason Gregor and Declan Kruger, but guess what? They're still not on the same level as Sean Brown. So people want to deal with Sean Brown. So if I have a goalie department head and it's Benoit Lair, when he comes down and works with my guys, and I can have the Jason Gregors and the Declan Kruger working side by side with them, but I want Benoit Lair right there because those guys aren't going to have all of the answers right away. And that's why I think a goalie department is massively important.
So you don't have Jeff Saleko? Is it Jeff Saleko?
He was our goalie scout, right? Yeah. And he was on the ice for camp.
He was with an NHL team.
Yeah, he used to be in Detroit. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
so they could have him, and maybe I could put him on the list.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure. Like maybe they'll have him. I'm going to guess no. That's just a guess.
Really?
Yeah.
I think he's going to be the guy.
You think he'll be the guy?
I think so. Right. He's got some. I mean, he's played at obviously good levels of hockey. He's been with another NHL team. He's had a chance to go out and see a lot of different goalies and probably been in a ton of conversations. I think that's probably, to me, would be the next guy in line.
Okay, we'll see.
Right, there'd be some familiarity with him and what they're looking for. Maybe
the goalie scout. Yeah, that's fair.
And he would have a good, probably a good handle on Skinner and just overall where the team is at.
Yeah, I don't know about Skinner. I don't know if they've ever worked together at all. He's a goalie scout so he's scouting other guys, right? He's not really
those
around
guys
the team.
Follow. You'd follow the Oilers
potentially. So yeah, we'll see. Quick break. Let's get to Declan Kruger. Sports 1440 update brought to you by 01 Hockeyology. Build your game all summer long with custom training and cutting edge technology. Become unstoppable. Sign up now at 01.ca. That's ZERONE. 01.ca.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Edmonton Oilers news is Dustin Schwartz won't return as Oilers goalie coach following the end of his contract with the club. In the NHL, Philadelphia have signed defenseman Cam York to a 5-year, $25.75 million deal with an AAV of 5.15. York filed for arbitration and had 4 goals and 17 points in 66 games for the Flyers last season. The Sabres have also filed for arbitration with defenseman Bowen Byram. Buffalo had $13.64 million in cap space left, and Byram had 7 goals and 31 points in 82 games last season. In the WHL, projected number 1 pick, Gavin McKenna will be heading to Penn State for the 25-26 season before entering the draft. And MLB action today gets going at 4:40 with the Rays and the Tigers. The Jays, they have a first pitch at 5:40 on an 8-game win streak, looking to extend it today. Barrios on the mound for that one as they're in Chicago taking on the White Sox. I'm Declan Kruger, and this has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
Rivalries run deep in Alberta football.
Edmonton all the way. Calgary rules.
But when it comes to the best snack for 3-down fun, there's no Battle of Alberta. It's a clear winner.
Wilhock Beef Jerky.
The one thing every Alberta fan agrees on. So whether you're watching the game from your recliner or in the stands, make it a part of your game day.
Wilhock Beef Jerky. Because you don't win games with salad. Only available in Leduc.
Are you an elite athlete or weekend warrior and you just want to enjoy playing the sport you love with less or even no pain? Have you tried every exercise and stretch imaginable, hoping the next one might do the trick? Well, you tried analog. At Leading Edge Physiotherapy, we believe healing can move along better and sometimes even faster with evidence-based technology techniques and the people who know how and when to apply it. StimPod, zero-gravity treadmills, radial shockwave, and so much more at your fingertips when you click to find us at leadingedgephysio.com.
Is it Riverside Motorsports? No. It's Riverside Motorsports. Over 55 years in business, and people still get it wrong. Guess it's time to get it right.
Riverside Motorsports. What you do for fun is our business.
Some jobs are easy, and some jobs
are not. When the going gets tough and the job is tough, GS Construction hires good people to get the job done right. So, if you know it takes teamwork, grit, and the utmost care to work underground, you just might be who we're looking for. Right now, GS Construction is hiring experienced foremen to join our crew. Apply today at gsconstruction.ca. And remember, from the first manhole to the final tie-in, we've got your back. GS Construction. Tough jobs, good people.
New crust alert at Papa John's. Your favorite cheese meets your favorite pizza in the new cheddar crust pizza for only $17.99. Papa John's pizza makers created the perfect addition to their crust by melting garlic and herb seasoned cheddar cheese right on top of their fresh original dough that's made with 6 simple ingredients. Try a one-topping cheddar crust pizza today for only $17.99. You better hurry though, because it's only for a limited time. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, proudly locally owned and operated.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Japa Machinery. Japa is digging deep on their 50-year history of supporting Alberta's construction industry with their line of special edition blackout excavators. Visit japamachinery.com for all the details.
He's not just another pair of glasses. It's the Jason Gregor Show. Thanks for checking out Edmonton Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.311. Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Sean Brown, Declan Cougar, Sports 1440. Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. It's the Gregor Show, is always presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Get in the game. Use the promo code Gregor50. You'll get a free $50 play at PlayAlberta.ca. Use the summer code Summer100 and you'll get a free casino play. PlayAlberta.ca. 313. We got lots on the Oilers, lots on the Elks, and the big news in NCAA that does impact Alberta and the Western Hockey League. The number 1 pick in 2026. Make no mistake, this guy is going to be the number 1 pick in the NHL entry draft next season. Gavin McKenna is going to Penn State, which might be a surprise for some people. You heard about Michigan and Michigan State, but is going to Penn State. And we'll talk about that and talk a little Philadelphia Flyers as we go around the NHL. Brought to you by McDonald's. And stop in. It's a little bit warm now. Now, the best way to cool down, how about a $2 sundae? Or a $2 snack size milkshake? Even better. $1 cone when you order it through the McDonald's app. Download the app today. Stay cool all summer long at McDonald's. Charlie O'Connor joins us. And Charlie, this is big news in the state of Pennsylvania. You're getting, the without question, the player who's going to be the number 1 overall pick in the NHL draft next year, going to Penn State. How much of a surprise was this?
Well, it's not that much of a surprise, I would say. The last few weeks, it was clear it was down to Penn State and Michigan State. It seemed like those were the final 2 teams, there were 2 schools that he was looking at. I'm not a big Penn State person in terms of following them or covering them or really knowing too much about their ins and outs. I'll be honest, I actively root against them. So I was kind of hoping that he would go to Michigan State because I don't like to see Penn State people happy in general. But it's cool, and it'll be neat to be able to potentially cover a game or 2 because it's obviously not that far from Philadelphia. But it's future Penn State. It's definitely one of those moments where the program gains even more respectability. It's been moving up. The Pagulas obviously have dumped a lot of money into that program, maybe more money than they dumped into their NHL team. But that's a story for another day. But this is very much we're serious about winning a national championship type of move. They have a ton of NIL money that they get. And they flexed their muscles and they took advantage. So it's cool. It's cool for college hockey. It's clear they want to become a national powerhouse, and this is a move that puts everybody else on notice.
Well, you mentioned the Bagulas, so I wonder what do they do anyway? Because they got to try to get their Buffalo Sabres organization on track, and maybe the best way to be get Gavin McKenna as a Buffalo Sabre.
Yeah. That's fair. That's fair. Maybe this is them playing the long game, possibly.
Yeah, no, it's true. So this will definitely be a big story. Speaking of the Flyers, of course, we wanted to talk about them as well, and they made some interesting moves this summer. What do you make of the Flyers offseason? I guess the most recent signing, of course, is York getting 5.15 AAV for the restricted free agent, 5 years.
Yeah, and that's a reasonable deal. 5 years takes into age 29, takes into 2030. And, he obviously had a bit of a tumultuous year this year. He was involved with the disagreement with John Tortorella that helped lead to John Tortorella being let go. They kind of had a blow up during a game in Toronto when York got benched. York didn't have a fantastic year this year. His offense regressed, but he's a quality top four defenseman. He's averaged 20 plus minutes a night the last 2 years, and getting him on a deal in the low $5 million cap hit range, it's not bad. And there's still plausible upside there if he puts it more together offensively. So solid deal for the Flyers, I would say. I was mildly surprised that York didn't hold out for more. But that said, the Flyers did acquire one of his best friends in Trevor Zegras earlier this summer, which I think was probably the biggest move they made in terms of plausible upside. So I imagine York wanted to stay. I know he's popular in that room. He likes playing for Philly. And now you've added, one of his best buds in Zegras. I don't think he was interested in playing too much hardball with the Flyers, especially after the year he just had.
Charlie, with York being signed, with Daniel Briere, do you figure he's done, or is there anything more that you think he's going to do or can do?
I think that there's a decent enough chance that he's done. That said, I think he's still going to, be hanging out around the margins. Briere has a lot of conversations with teams. He's talking with a lot of teams. He has talked with a lot of teams. So he has a pretty good understanding of what's out there, who's available. And while the Flyers are pretty close to the cap ceiling right now, I have them at a little under $1.5 million under the $95 million cap ceiling. They could theoretically put Ryan Ellis, who is functionally retired. He can't play anymore. They could put him on long-term IR, and they could free up another $6 million in space if they want to make another move. Now, my understanding, based on the people I've talked to, is the Flyers ideally don't want to be tapping an LTIR. They're not a contending team. They don't want to go down that route unless they actually have to. That said, if an enticing enough trade or an offer sheet opportunity pops up, they do have the flexibility to do more. That said, if I had to guess, I would guess they're mostly done. They filled the holes they wanted to fill. They got a goalie. They've upgraded at center. They went through the draft and added a really, really good prospect in Porter Martone. They've locked up all their RFAs. So they could be done. And I think, chances are they're probably done. But I would expect Briere to kind of hang out around the margins and see if something else pops up that makes sense for him or a player becomes available that he really likes.
You look at the Flyers and, Rick Tocchet comes in and the Flyer fans are going to love him. Obviously, they loved him when he was a player. He kind of fits how they play. Like, where do you see the Flyers? Like the last few years, like last year, I thought was actually how it should be. I know it sucks for the organization fans when their team isn't good, but if you want to develop and you want to rebuild, you're going to have some bad years. It's just how it is, right? And when they had Tortorella, he squeezed every dropout, which is good, but it cost them high picks. What do you think? Like, are they going in this season to say, hey, we can compete for a wild card, or do they think we're still like, we need another top 5 pick?
Look, if they got another top 5 pick, I don't think they would be crying because they certainly could use more high-end talent. Right now, they have 2 guys in Matvei Michkov and Porter Martone who fit that mold. They're both wingers, though. It would be nice for them to get a defenseman or a center, at a premium position, and maybe they could do that next year. Even though, from my understanding, it's a very winger-heavy top 10 at least a year out. So I don't know about that. I think the way the Flyers look at it is they thought after last year that they overachieved. They thought that they did better than what their talent really was. This year, they think they underachieved. This past year, they believe that they are a better team than the 4th worst record in hockey. The big thing for them is goaltending because the last 2 seasons, they finished dead last in the league in save percentage. Now, this is potentially something where they could get a lot better. If they get decent enough goaltending, they could be in the wild card mix, I think. I think they actually are probably a better team than most people realize outside the goaltending. The thing is that the goaltending is still a serious question mark. Now, Sam Ersson has shown flashes. There have been moments, there have been stretches where he's looked like a legitimate tandem NHL goalie, but you look at his numbers and they're not that great as an NHL goalie. They signed Dan Vladar on July 1. Vladar has been okay. He was the backup in Calgary. He's also had moments, but they're going to be asking him to play probably 35, 40 games, which is more than he's ever played in the NHL. So, look, there's a world where, maybe Ersson takes a step or maybe Vladar, breaks out and becomes the number one goalie there. And then suddenly they're getting league average goaltending and they're in the wild card mix. So they do think their skaters are good enough for them to be there if they get decent enough goaltending. But there's also a world where Ersson continues to struggle, where Vladar delivers one of his poor seasons, because he's really had 2 solid seasons and 2 poor seasons as an NHL goalie. He delivers one of those years, and suddenly they're right back in the top 5. So it really, in my mind, at its core, comes down to goaltending, because that's what's torpedoed them the last 2 years.
Well, what do you make of their goaltending right now? Honestly, like what do you make of where they're at in, they got Dan Vladar, they paid him 3.35, and then they got some young guys. I know some people weren't really high on Fedotov last year, and he's got 1 year left at 3.275. Like Samuel Ersson had some okay numbers, right? Like he's not old by any stretch. And if I trust me, I do all the research on goalies. Like most guys don't really find their way until at least 26 in the NHL. So where do you think Ersson's the guy that you see as the backup? Is there any chance Fedotov could surprise people this year?
I am not expecting Fedotov to factor too much into the mix. My understanding of the situation is Fedotov's going to be the 3, and Briere more or less said that on July 1 after they made the Vladar signing. So he's probably going to start the year down in the minors. They'll clear up some cap space by getting that the 1.15, I believe it is what you clear up by sending him down. So I think it will be an Ersson Vladar tandem. They really like Ersson, and their view with Ersson is basically that, before everything happened with Carter Hart, it was a tandem. It was Ersson Hart, and when Ersson was being used in a tandem role, he was really good. Then when Hart obviously became unavailable, they had to throw Ersson into the number 1 role. And he just hasn't been that good in that role. But they think if they can turn Ersson back into a tandem guy where he's not playing every game, that he can go back to being a good goalie. And I think their hope is that Vladar can be that tandem mate, at least for now. So I think Ersson could turn back into a perfectly solid goalie. That said, there's no guarantee. He's never really shown it for a full season, so you're betting. Now, as for Vladar, I'm not as familiar with him. I haven't watched him a ton. You guys have probably watched him a lot more than I have. But my understanding is that he's kind of similar in that he's had good stretches. He's had bad stretches. He did a good job last year, kind of being the support guy for Dustin Wolf and taking on some of the tougher games to maybe, let Wolf have easier matchups. So there might be something there. He's not that old. I believe he's 27 or 28 years old, so he's not super old. But again, you're betting on him being better than he's been in the NHL. So is there a world where the goaltending's good? Sure. Goaltending's weird. Sometimes guys get better. Sometimes guys get worse. But I'm not going into the season thinking like, man, the Flyers have the goaltending situation solved.
Charlie, I know it's early in the summer and it's only development camp, but Gregor talked about Torts getting every drop out of the players last year. I can't imagine too many free nights or days with Rick Tocchet. What was the vibe and feel with development camp and Tocchet being there?
Yeah, I mean, Tocchet wasn't like on the ice. He was watching. I saw him across the rink, watching with Danny Briere and Keith Jones. But I think they're looking at it with Tocchet basically in that, look, Tocchet is he's an old school guy. He's going to have things non-negotiables for his players, but it's going to be so much easier than playing for John Tortorella because no one is John Tortorella. And Tocchet, for some of his, hard-nosed aspects, he does have the reputation of being at his core a player's coach, a guy who wants to connect with his players, a guy who builds strong relationships. Like Phil Kessel swears by him, Sidney Crosby swears by him, Quinn Hughes wanted him to stay. He was advocating for him to stay. So it's not like Tocchet is Torts in the sense that like Torts goes to war with his players to try to get the best out of them. look, Tockett's going to be hard on them. He's going to demand excellence, sure. But I think they're looking at it as, compared to Torts, Tockett's going to be a walk in the park for these guys, and they might love him even more than they would if he was coming off of a normal head coach. But coming after Tortorella, anything's going to seem easy.
Yeah, that's probably very true. Jar, always good to catch up with you, man. We appreciate it. We'll see what the goaltenders do in Philadelphia. And hey, goalies are one thing. You still need a decent defensive system in front of them, and we'll see what Rick Tocchet brings into Philly alongside. Because you look at their defense core and Sanheim and York and Ristolainen, Nick Seeler, Drysdale, Noah Juleson, Zamula. They got an okay D core, not great. Like I like Sanheim, he's pretty good, but. Quickly on Ristolainen, is he just a good number, like a second pair guy now in your eyes?
I think so. I think he's remade himself as a good defensive defenseman. The question with him is he going to be healthy? Because he finished the season on the IR. He had kind of a recurrence of this triceps issue, which has been bothering him for the better part of a year. So he might not be ready for the start of the season, which would definitely be a hit. And look, he's not a game changer, but he's a good, solid second pair defenseman. I agree. A defensively oriented second pair defenseman. So if he misses a lot of time, that will hurt the Flyers on defense, especially given the fact that, last year they were struggling in terms of goal prevention and save percentage. And that's Risto's game now. He's a porch clear. He's a physical guy. And he's a strong defensive player. So they're going to be hoping that if he misses time to start the year, it's not that much time because they're going to need him.
Charlie, great stuff, buddy. Have yourself an awesome day.
All right. Thanks, guys.
That's Charlie O'Connor joining us from Philly. So a little bit of Flyers. And also, if you missed it, Gavin McKenna. Bad news for WHL fans. Good news for Oil Kings fans. Won't be in Medicine Hat next year. And the Tigers, who had a loaded team, not going to be that loaded as much with some of the guys they've lost. So that's why the Oil Kings took a little bit of a swing earlier this summer. And I won't be surprised at all to see them be even more aggressive during the season. They got a good team, and some of those other teams have weakened themselves. So it should be good. And especially with the two teams for the WHL going to the Memorial Cup this year, your odds slightly better, potentially. Although Kelowna, I'm not sure they're really. Kelowna's going to have to make a lot of changes for them to be a team that's actually going deep in the playoffs. Otherwise, they'll just be a host. Quick break. We'll come back. We got a lot of texts to get to. 833-401-1440. 833-401-1440. It's the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Action Electrical's projects team takes the field, folks, ready to execute the entire play for new commercial builds.
Absolutely. They're masters of design, build, sketching strategy from initial blueprints to core electrical infrastructure. The team never misses on complex projects.
Known for handling big league constructions and major renovations, ensuring flawless execution, hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is your #1 air conditioning company. So when you can't take living in oppressive heat any longer,
call Legacy. Call Legacy.
If your hot, sticky sheets keep you up all night,
call Legacy. Call Legacy.
If you've decided that you deserve to be cool and comfortable,
call Legacy. Call Legacy.
And with no payments, no interest for 1 year, it could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Silent Ice Sports and Entertainment is an innovative market leader across Western Canada with sports and entertainment properties, including the Spruce Grove Saints, the Junior Prospects Hockey League, Silent Rides Charter Company, the Hockey Super League, and the newly launched Female Super League. Silent Ice also owns the Western Hockey League's Seattle Thunderbirds and operates the Morinville AAA Arena. The Silent Ice Center, a new state-of-the-art entertainment facility, is open in Nisku, which features 2 sheets of ice, including a 1,600-seat arena and a restaurant with a viewing area.
What does excellence truly mean, and how does it guide your choices? At Volvo Cars Edmonton, excellence isn't just a goal, it's their standard. They shine in every aspect, from top-tier customer satisfaction in sales and service to impressive inventory, strong customer loyalty, and prices that are tough to match. Experience the dedication to quality firsthand at Volvo Cars Edmonton. Great vehicles, better service. Only at VolvoCarsEdmonton.com.
Scott McGilvery here, HGTV host and renovation expert. The one upgrade I know homeowners will love: better, fresher Culligan water straight from the tap. Culligan's AquaCentral reverse osmosis filtration system takes your water to the next level. With up to 7 stages of filtration and 14 filter options, they're certified to reduce over 90 contaminants. Your tap water is about to get a major upgrade. Safer water that tastes great. Get started with a free in-home water test at Culligan.com. Culligan, water you love.
Experience more at the Edmonton Expo Center. Come for Canada's largest trade show, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. Stay for the experience, but it doesn't end there. Maximize your brand exposure with Edmonton Expo Center's new cutting-edge feature screens, spanning Western Canada's largest venue space. Captivate an annual audience of over 1 million visitors during iconic events like Pro Rodeo, Disney on Ice, Glow, K-Days, and so much more. To learn more, call 780-471-7380 or visit EdmontonExpoCenter.com today.
Oodle Noodle Origins.
In 1864, Francis Oodle took over his dying father's business as a leatherman. He was quite proficient, but his heart was never truly in the trade. After his father's death, Oodle met a cocksure young man named Vladimir Nudel, who was a trailblazer in the popular new art of food boxes. They formed a partnership and aimed to ply their trade in the new world. At Ellis Island, Nudel was renamed David Noodle, and henceforth, the franchise has been known as
Oodle Noodle.
It's happened again, and construction season is in full swing. Job delayed, money lost, and clients disappointed because your rigging failed and it wasn't inspected. Don't let this happen to you. Have your lifting slings, fittings, hoisting tools, and safety harnesses checked with Titan Supply. Titan Supply offers certified on-site and in-house rigging inspections and service, so they can repair it, replace it, and recertify it. Titan Supply in Edmonton, Grand Prairie, Red Deer, and Calgary, and at titansupply.ca. Lift, dig, haul.
Every morning, you look in the mirror and see less of yourself. Hair loss can feel like losing a part of who you are.
But it doesn't have to be that way. Hi, I'm Dr. Vance Elliott. At Advanced Hair and Skin Surgery, we understand the pain of hair loss. Our advanced hair restoration solutions won't just bring back your hair, they'll help you face the mirror with confidence.
Good morning, you sexy beast. Visit drvanceelliott.com today because it's time to be the man you remember.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Sherbrooke Liquor, the best place for wine, cocktails, and beers from all over the world. Also, a variety of excellent non-alcoholic options. See more at SherbrookeLiquor.com.
Look good, feel good, play good. It's the Jason Gregor Show. Thanks for listening to Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Sean Brown, Declan Kruger, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Hope you're having an awesome day. We're going to get to the 2-minute warning with Cam Tate momentarily. Also, we got a lot of text flying in, 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Hey, guys, what are the chances of requiring Kevin Woodley to fill the goalie coach position? Asking for a friend from Oil Country, Shay from Hamilton. Kev would be the first one to tell you. He wouldn't be, and these are his words, not mine. He's not qualified to be a head goalie instructor. Could he be like a guy in your organization and help as a second or third? Yes, probably. He's worked lots with goalie coach in that regard. I'd have to ask Kevin. I know his daughter just graduated, so his family life might be different because there's a lot of guys who, they make the commitment to say, like, I'm not uprooting my kids in high school. And any parent out there will know that's a tough age. Sometimes you have no choice. But if you have a choice and you're doing okay, if your kid's in high school, they can stay there. It's a little bit better overall. Now, if your kid leaves high school because they're chasing their dream, well, that's different than you chasing your dream and bringing them along. Any parent out there can attest to that. Sometimes you don't have a choice. But Kev's coming on Wednesday, so I would ask him, like, if someone came to you, would you be willing, like, where he's at in life might be different, right? But again, like, what's his wife's job? Like, there's lots of factors that go into it, and then it's which organization you're working for, because you'd be surprised at when you consider how much money these organizations spend on certain things. You might be surprised. Like, I heard there's one NHL team right now that pays their head goalie coach $135,000. And they're like, what? Like, they can't believe it. But that shows you what they value at the goal. So then they rip on their goalies and their goalie coach. But you're not, because I know for a fact, and I'll probably talk about it later in the summer, there is a team that had 2 people turn down the job simply because of what they were offering. They're like, I'm not going to leave to go for that. It's not going to happen. Right now, you'll always have someone who will take it, right? Because, maybe they're in a position where they don't need the money as much, or, it's fine. But for a lot of people, when you look at what other organizations, like I know, like Ian Clark's contract was around $500,000. Now that's on the high end. He's one of the higher paid guys. So that might be a challenge to get him out of Vancouver, whatever. But, so you might not pay him that much. But if you pay $400,000, that's still Vancouver's like, okay, they'll grant you permission because now they only have to pay him $100,000 of his remaining salary. That's how it works, right? So if you have a salary that paid you $500,000 and then team wants to hire you and pay you $400,000, then they pay you the $400,000 and then the other $100,000 comes from Vancouver until their contract's over. So that's how it worked. But I don't think Woodley, in his words, not mine, said that he doesn't believe he's like qualified to be an NHL goalie coach at this stage. He's worked with them, but he hasn't coached them, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, you're bang on the timing of, it's the timing is important, right? When you have a wife and young families, it's because I remember when I was going through it, when I was helping out with the Oil Kings there, and Derek Laxdal went from the Oil Kings to Texas in the American Hockey League.
Yeah, and he asked you to go.
And he asked me, and I was just like, oh man, I just got home.
Yeah.
And obviously I don't regret it, to being able to spend that time with your family and minor hockey. It was nice. And I remember, having some older friends that were just like, as you're asking for advice and, you're never going to regret spending too much time with your family, especially now as my kids are, 18 and 20. It's, it is a small window when you get to spend a lot of time with them because they grow up fast.
Yeah. I do like this one. This is coming. Hey guys, I'm a walking billboard for why you should be 30 years of age before you can get a tattoo. I got 12 tattoos between the ages of 17 and 19. I only regret all 12 of them from Matt. Well, hey, I joked about this. To me, you look at what is one of the thriving businesses right now? Tattoo removal.
Oh, really?
Oh, and I've talked to people who've got it removed, and usually it might take like 5 to 6 sessions of going in to remove it.
Yeah.
But the last 2 hurt a lot.
Oh, really?
To get it removed.
So does it get rid of it completely, or is there got to be a mark?
It depends on what your tattoo, what the base of your color is, my understanding. Yeah. And certain ones, like you can have, I saw one buddy who got his gone. He had 2 tattoos. One, I couldn't even tell where it was. And the other one, if you look, like you can kind of see it where it is. So it would depend. Yeah. But it all depends supposedly on what the shading of the original tattoo was.
Yeah.
So should look into it, Brownie.
Yeah, I like mine. I love mine.
I thought you said you wanted to get rid of it.
No, I wouldn't. No, I definitely don't want to I really, really like mine. I'm just saying, if I were to do it again, I do like the sleeve and that, or I like, some people obviously look really good with the sleeve, but I like the half sleeve, right? Where it's something that if you want to show it, you can. And if you don't want to show it, obviously you can kind of hide it. Because I'm sure looking at some people and their tattoos and, depending on where you get it, especially for a lady, it can be somewhat, unattractive, right? We've all seen those ones too. It's just like,
well, guys or women, I think doesn't matter. I'm always curious about and I'm just curious about the people who get the neck and the face tattoo as they're older. Do they regret that one? Because you see it all the time. If you have a tattoo on your back shoulder or something, you don't see it all the time. You probably some days forget, and you're like, oh.
Especially when you're young. When you're young, everything is tight.
Yeah, because when
you get older, everything gets sloppy. Yeah. I guess that keeps the pressure on you to stay
maybe. But I just wonder, if there's certain place tattoos that you're kind of like, ooh, does the excitement of the tattoo wear off if you're seeing it every day? I just wonder. Every time, I don't care. You get one on your forearm, you're looking at it every day. Yeah. Does it wear off? I don't know.
Yeah. Mine doesn't. I guess.
But do you see it every day?
Yeah, it's on my shoulder, so I can see it.
But do you look at it? Oh yeah, you look at it every day.
Yeah.
Oh, hi, how you doing? No. Okay, so yours is fine.
Oh yeah, I love it.
Okay, yeah. But yours is your kids, is it not?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so it's a little different, right?
Yeah.
If you had one of your earring, you probably wouldn't be as memorable.
Yeah, I can't believe that guy picked that out.
Honestly, I'd never seen that before until he pointed it out.
I wasn't expecting that.
We might have to zoom that one out a little bit. Definitely zirconian. I'll say that. It's one thing I noticed.
I was on a budget. I was on a budget back then. So.
Let's get to the 2-minute warning now. Brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Home with no payments, no interest for 1 year on your AC unit. It's hot out, so guess what? You stay cool all summer at legacyheating.ca. Cam Tate, longtime journalist in town. Cam was born with cerebral palsy. He's been in a wheelchair for many years. And due to his disability, could never do live radio until now. The wonders of technology, Cam's words come to life in the 2-minute warning.
Turn down your radio, take out your earbuds. This thing could get loud, very loud, as in something electric, Clail. A pop, maybe. Because we're going to fire up the old text-to-speech gizmo, otherwise known as Hume.ai, and test it like never ever before. Because the person wanted talking about today, and today only, has an interesting last name. Sure does. Kind of like supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, something like you. So let me tease you. Like you there, over where Gregor. Tease. I'd tease you about your hair, if of course you had any. Okay. Sorry. So here's the big tease. He walked up to the gate too. Past gate. A good 45 minutes before the Elks game. Black pants. Dark green shirt. Edmonton Elks logo on it. He was ready for the game. Something he has done around Edmonton Elks football since 1971. Both it's different this year. Our friend wasn't in the dreaming room, getting equipment ready, fixing equipment, finding equipment, everything equipment. And he did it, winning 11, count them, 11 Grey Cups. Put Aubrey on your toast tomorrow morning. And then, for some reason, he was fired. Goodbye. Don't forget to leave your keys at the door. It was a very unpopulation decision because he is part of professional football in Edmonton. He is loved. But now he's back. A great decision by the Elks. Now, stand back, covered your heads, but not your ears. We're going to put this gentleman's last name in the voice. Gome. Now, stand back. Cover your heads, but not your ears. We're going to put this gentleman's last name in the voice. Gome. Now, stand back. Quain, last name. Hey, Gregor, if the gizmo don't work, can you fill in his name? Okay, here we go. Mondruasiak, I have started a petition on the Alberta government clawing back $184 million a year from low-income Albertans with disability. Please visit at Cam Tater. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Gregor Show. Sports 14.
Sports 1440, Tate. Sports 1440. Not Sports 14, Sports 1440. So that was like, you know what? For now, that was that. We'll have to talk to Tater about that guy.
Is that a glitch?
He's not. I don't think he's not going to be in the running. Compared to the other voices that Tater's used in the past, this guy, I think we're giving him the boot. Was not great. So we'll see. But Cam Tate's message about Asia is something that I think it impacts a lot of people. Now, Cam, as he said, he personally is not on it, but $184 million annually from disabled Albertans. You might want to read Cam's article. It was for those who are impacted by it. I can understand their frustration. That is a tough pill to swallow. So great for Tater to speak up for those who sometimes do not have a voice. So good job, Tater. Quick break. We'll return with 5 questions on the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
The sun is shining, the weather's warm, and some of Edmonton's favorite sports are back in season. If you're looking for the cherry on top of a perfect summer day, check out Play Alberta to experience casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Download the Play Alberta app today and deposit $20 or more with promo code SUMMER to claim a $100 casino bonus. That's promo code SUMMER for a $100 casino bonus on us. Redeemable once per Play Alberta account. Remember, if you gamble, please use your game sense.
Comes Action Electrical Service Team sprinting onto the scene. These are your first responders for any electrical emergency.
That's right. With their fleet of service vans and specialized gear, they assess, they service, and maintain electrical lighting and automation systems. They're all about rapid response.
Quick diagnostics and repairs to restore power and safety fast. Hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
New crust alert at Papa John's. Your favorite cheese meets your favorite pizza in the new cheddar crust pizza for only $17.99. Papa John's pizza makers created the perfect addition to their crust by melting garlic and herb seasoned cheddar cheese right on top of their fresh original dough that's made with 6 simple ingredients. Try a one-topping cheddar crust pizza today for only $17.99. You better hurry though, because it's only for a limited time. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, proudly locally owned and operated.
So you're dying from the heat, wet dripping on your sheets. You want to cool it down, but your AC can't compete. So you fall upon your knees and cry out, oh please, I need a cooling breeze. Send me Legacy's AC Repairman. Legacy's AC Repairman. AC Repairman. Can't spell legacy without AC. Legacy Heating and Cooling's got a guy who's really good at fixing broken ACs. So if you got one, call Legacy. Okay, see you later. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Whether you're a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado, there's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke Liquor, a unique, family-owned, independent liquor store. The selection, incredible. The non-alcohol section is also very impressive. Sherbrooke Liquor, expert, knowledgeable staff with a passion for unique finds. More than just a liquor store, we're a community. Alberta's best, the one and only Sherbrooke Liquor. Wine, spirits, and oodles of beer. Visit SherbrookeLiquor.com.
I'm Rick Showers from No Bull RV. Our average used RV sells for around 30 grand. Some are more, some are less. And literally no one has 30 G's just sitting in their checking account.
Monthly payments are the best way to get the used RV that's right for your family.
That's right, Bob. Financing should be a stress-free process. But let me tell you a little secret. My granddaughters think I'm a model citizen. When I was young once. And if you look back into my credit history, you can see that it wasn't always excellent.
Perfect credit is nice, but not easily achievable.
You said it, Bob, but less than perfect credit is not a good reason to keep you from the great outdoors this season. I built our financing plans for the real world. And in the real world, nobody has a perfect credit score. So let's talk about how easy it is to make your favorite used RV affordable. As long as you promise not to tell Saxon and Goldie that I'm not perfect.
And that's No Bull.
NoBullRV.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. Feeding a crowd? Get the triple play. 3 large specialty or 5 topping pizza for only $54 when you use the promo code 3play at papajohns.ca.
Sports Radio is back. The Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Sean Brown, Declan Cougar with you. Sports 1440. Josh Fenwick, of course, running everything at the Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Hope you are having a lovely Monday afternoon. If you were an Edmonton sports fan, you're pretty happy. The Elks win. The Riverhawks win their last game. The Stingers win their 5th in a row. So that was a good weekend for Edmonton sports fans. Maybe you got to take in 1, 2. It would have been difficult to do the trifecta on Sunday. You would have had to stay. You would have had to catch the second half of the Elks game, I think, with the Stingers game starting an hour earlier. But definitely something you could do. You have the Jays. If you're a baseball fan, the Jays, they just keep rolling, baby. And what a week! Gaining 7 games on the Yankees in a week, right? Is wild. Because the Yankees lost 7 in a row, the Jays won 7. Well, the Jays have actually won 8 in a row. The Yankees finally won a game, but that is quite the turn of events. And now the Jays, you've got the cellar dwellers, the Chicago White Sox for the next few. They're 30-60. Now they've obviously won a third of their games, so you can't just assume you'll win all of them. But the way the Jays are going, that is a pretty good opponent to keep yourself rolling against. You don't want to overlook them, but if you play decent, you should have a good chance of success. So who knows? Now, the Jays franchise record is 11 wins. They've done it 5 times. They've won 10 in a row once, and they've won 9 in a row 4 times. So a win tonight would get them into the top 3, and there's a chance that maybe they tie or break the franchise record this week. Let's get to 5 questions brought to you by The Brick as it continues on. The Brick's and Canada's biggest appliance sale. You can buy any LG Laundry Team wash tower or wash comb and you get $100 off. Also, you can get up to 60% off clearance appliances and below cost scratch and dent. Go in and store. This is like the Brownie special. It's unbelievable. You have one little dent, you can barely see it, and you get 60% off. This is where Brownie lives, man. He lives it, loves it. So check it out at The Brick.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, guys. Question number 1. What was the most underrated aspect of the Elks win yesterday?
The most underrated. I don't know. I know you don't agree with it, Gregor, but I like the fact that, they had a great game as a team, but I like the fact that they put in that Cody Fajero. I think that, for
Why?
I don't know.
I-
But I don't know football. But
Okay.
I just they were struggling, right? And
Not when he was in. They were leading.
No, just leading up to it, they were struggling, and it was a plan. And I like the fact that Killam, as a young rookie coach, right? Whether it was the right plan or it worked out anyway. But I felt like it was like, get this guy in, get him some touches. We don't know how this game's going to go. Obviously, it was going well at that point, but I like it. Now they got to win, and everyone was a part of it.
Well,
Do you want to give them all ribbons too?
It's a bold
What's
take.
that? Do you want to give them all ribbons too? Like they're all part of it?
It's like we actually will have a Coach Killam on at 5:20, so we'll be chatting with him about
Tell him
that.
great job.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, Sean Brown just wants everybody on the team to have VAR, but he didn't get all his backups in. Come on, Brownie, that's brutal. To me, I guess the most underrated aspect of the Elks win. Ooh, good question. I'm going to say the play of the offensive line. I thought that might have been their best game of the season. They opened up some big holes, and they're still without Beard. Now, they might get him back. He is pushing for it. They've had all the MRIs. Everything's good. He wants to play, but because of the injury, you don't want to rush it back, so he's a maybe. But they are getting better, so I'm going to say the O-line play.
Question
Jack, what about you?
Yeah, no, I totally stole my answer. O-line play for sure. Thought it was their best game by a mile. Protection was good. Not that Ottawa has some vaunted defensive line, but 100% the O-line. Question number 2, other side of the ball. What specific aspect or aspects didn't you like about the Elks game yesterday?
Well, I didn't like switching out the quarterback when you're up 22-3, and you just kind of potentially changed the momentum of the game, and it did actually, because then Ottawa came back and scored the next 2 touchdowns. So I didn't like that, and I guess I still have concern just about how many yards the defense is giving.
I just didn't like the fact that, in the second quarter at the end there, they kind of lost a little momentum, and, they just, if anything, you'd think that would kind of spark getting in a new quarterback and kind of be in there and play him for him.
Question number 3, what should the Oilers do with their goaltending coach position?
Well, I believe so. Dustin, for anybody just joining us, Dustin Schwartz is not coming back. His contract ended, and they're just not renewing it, so they're going to go in a different direction. I believe they should look at and kind of join almost the other half of the league, because there's right now I got 14 teams, and and I did a lot of talk, a lot of phone calls over. I'm pretty sure I got down to 14 teams that have what's called a goalie department. Like in LA, for instance, Bill Ranford is their head of their goalie department. Then they have an NHL goalie coach, they have an AHL goalie coach, and Bill Ranford oversees all of it. And if I'm the Edmonton Oilers, you are one of the top revenue generating teams in the league. There is no salary cap for management and coaches. Build a proper goalie department, especially now when you got 6 goalies, 4 signed and 2 drafted under the age of 26. You can start to build somewhat of a pipeline of goalies. They don't all have to play for you. Maybe you trade some, but it allows you to develop a position that's incredibly important. Also incredibly volatile, hard to predict, but that's what I would look at. Don't just get one goalie coach and think that's going to solve it.
I just think, you brought up Bill Ranford. You talked about Sean Burke. I just think if you can bring in a big established, someone that's been around, a big name to come in and help.
Question number 4. At what point of McDavid not having signed his extension will you start to question how the discussions are going or even worry?
I'm not too sure. I mean, that's kind of I guess the number, he's not going to be a hard contract to sign because he's going to get the most and he should get the most. And he's at a point in his career where he just, he deserves it. But I guess if you were to go with a time that maybe midway through season, just based on the fact that I think as the season gets going, as it would get close to the playoffs, I'm assuming he probably wouldn't want to talk about it. And he'd probably, just kind of delay it that much longer.
When would I get concerned? For me, honestly, I would be concerned if we got to the face-off on opening night. Up until then, not an issue for me.
Question number 5. If Joey Chestnut and Usain Bolt both have to eat a hot dog and then win 200 meters, who wins the race?
So run 200 meters after. So Joey Chestnut can eat a hot dog in 5 seconds? I don't even know. If he
did 70 and a half in 10 minutes. So whatever that prorates to.
So that's so if you do it, that's okay, we'll do the math on that. 10 minutes you said, and he ate 70 of them?
That's incredible.
So he's eating in a minute, 7 in a minute, right? 70 hot dogs, 10 minutes. So he's eating 7 in a minute. So that's what? 8 seconds, I guess.
8.5 seconds.
8.5. So now, is he eating it does he get to stuff it in water, or does he just have to eat it?
Oh, you have to have that.
Because
water,
if you don't, I don't know, but if you just do
imagine?
one, how fast could you eat one hot dog? Because Usain Bolt's going to run a 200 meter in probably, even now, he still probably could run it in 22 seconds. I bet you Usain Bolt could. Joey Chestnut probably couldn't run it. Joey Chestnut would have to have at least a 12-second lead to beat him. So if Usain Bolt can eat one hot dog in 20 seconds, he's still winning.
I don't know. How can you go against this Johnny Chestnut guy? How long has he won this record for?
He didn't. He wasn't in last year, but he's won it. I think 15 times.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm not going to bet against this guy.
No, but it's you eat the hot dog and then you have to run 200 meters.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean,
did you not listen to the question?
No, I'm kind of amazed that a guy can physically eat that many hot dogs and not what does he feel like after?
No,
could you?
It's just
just disgusting.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I don't know. I'll go with that Chestnut. He seems like a pretty, I don't know, different.
Yeah. So it's not something I would do. That's for sure. But I would still go with Usain Bolt, Declan.
Well, my thing is, I think most people overestimate how quickly they can honestly eat a hot dog. If Joey can eat one in 8.5 seconds and he's the best to ever do it. I was thinking about this. I think I could realistically eat a hot dog at my fastest in 25 seconds with all the chewing and the swallowing and all that. So,
but he doesn't even swallow it, right? He just kind of shoves it down.
Yeah,
his throat.
He gets it in the water and just
the water thing, and it makes So I don't know. I can't open my throat to chug a beer. So
how do you?
Because here's another thing.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe he would win.
I thought, because my thing was I think the question was originally 100 meters.
Yeah, well, he'd win
Joey
all the time.
Easy in
100. It's not
100.
even close.
So then, obviously turn that into 200. And if you still think Joey wins that, I guess the question then becomes at what meter point does Usain Bolt finally pass him?
Well, I'd have to see. So Joey is obviously a very good hot dog eater, but the average person to run a 200 meter, you talk about how people think that they're faster eating a hot dog. How many people think they're faster how many people think right now they could run 15 seconds 100 meter? You'd be a lot of people think they could do 100 meters in 15 seconds, and that ain't happening. And 15 seconds, I wish sometimes we could show the Olympic runners and then average Joe runners.
Oh.
And it would show you how much of a gap it is. But and the longer the race is, the slower it's going to be from the start because you have longer space. So if he's running Joey Chestnut, heck, he might run his 200 meter in 35 seconds.
I don't think
right. Yeah. So the longer you go, then it favors the runner. The shorter the race is, it's going to favor the hot dog eating guy all day long. So, and maybe I'll have to bring in a hot dog and just see how quick could I eat a hot dog?
What's the last time you had a hot dog?
I have a hot dog. I have kids still.
I can't
young,
even remember when I've had.
You know what? I had a hot dog 3 weeks ago because I was at Costco.
Oh,
Dude,
Costco.
I
time.
never had a hot dog at Costco until 2 years ago because I don't know why. I just didn't really go to Costco.
Yeah.
And the first time I had a Costco hot dog, I got the hype, dude.
Oh, really?
Because it's not only
I've
the hot
never
dog.
had one
They
either.
get now. I don't drink pop, but they will give you a pop and a hot dog for $1.50.
I get
where
the
can
ice.
you get that deal?
I get the ice cream cone.
Oh, but the hot dog there is good.
Really?
Now it's massive though. Like the little baby, like it's like they're using mini hot dogs at the hot dog eating contest. And did you see the conspiracy theorists believe that Joey's hot dogs are smaller? So they set it up because they need him to win. So his hot dogs are actually smaller. I have no idea if it's true because most conspiracy theories, I'm like, really? But it's funny. But the Costco hot dog is massive. It's almost like a foot long, dude. Like
Really?
it's coming out both sides
There's
of the
good
bun.
value. There's
but that
definitely
is,
good value there.
but I'm appreciating that one. I don't know how quick and I've never done it like soaking it in water. I'd be just like, God, this tastes disgusting.
Yeah,
like that's why I wouldn't.
no
I
interest
could
in
see why they don't chew it. They just inhale it.
Yeah.
Right. And I couldn't do that. I couldn't shove the hot dog down my throat. I couldn't do it.
I got something to say here. So on the weekend, I went for a bike ride with my daughter, and someone took my giant Trans One. So if anyone sees a blue,
Someone
giant,
stole your bike?
both of them, mine and my daughter. So we were riding. We were riding in the River Valley, and we went up to White Ave just to grab.
Did you lock them up?
Locked them up. I come out there, and I mean, my lock was good, but obviously they had wire cutters and snipped it.
Where was your bike at?
It was by Applebee's, just outside of Applebee's there. So anyway, if anyone sees
Where the hell is Applebee's?
Oh God, where's kind of where Pip is. I forget whatever street Pip's
Is this
on.
south side or north side of the river?
It would be south side.
South side of the river. All right.
Yeah. So
you biked up from the river. 2 brand new bikes.
Well, and they're not brand new, but
Ooh.
yeah, how disappointing is that? I was like, so now
That would be rattling.
Yeah,
dude.
so
I
I
had
got
my bike stolen.
It was a weird feeling to walk
Oh, yeah.
up and be like, I'm like, Maya, I think someone just took our bikes.
Yeah, I had
And-
my bike stolen as a kid, but then I found it at the outdoor pool in the Duke, buddy. I'm telling you,
That's why
that one, like
my
that,
back
it
call.
was like a week later, and because I had a black and yellow Kuahara,
Okay.
and dude, I remember coming out of the pool and I'm walking, and it's one of those things, like you still looking as a kid, and I saw it, and I'm like, oh my God! And back then they used to have the stickers. That's how you could register your bike, and the dummies didn't take the sticker off, so I knew it was my bike. And so I told my buddy to stand by, and I ran into the pool. I called the cops. The cops came over. I'm like, hey, this is my bike. And I memorized my registration number because you had to. I'm like, this is my bike. And I reported it stolen with the registration. Dude, they waited till the kid came out. Got him.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
See, I didn't register.
Dude, that was one of the greatest. Like, you think of moments in your life, do you remember? That's probably top 5 moments of, like, if there was ever a time I wanted to fight a kid, like really bad, that was it. Like, I couldn't believe how mad I was. Like, what are you doing? You're a loser. Why'd you steal my bike? Like, of course, the cops were there. So kid was 3 years older than me, so I was talking tough. But still, I was pretty irate about it.
Well, that's funny that you got
And those
your-
guys had stolen like multiple bikes.
Oh, yeah.
And then then I was kind of like, for the rest of that summer, we were bike sleuths. We found 6 bikes that they'd stolen. Like, they would steal bikes, take them apart, and then like hide them up in trees.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I've been cruising White Ave just to see.
Donnie.
I
I,
mean,
won't say your last name, Donnie, but you're a douchebag Donnie back then. That's, still don't forget your name.
funny.
Hopefully you've grown up from those days of stealing bikes.
Well, I'm hopefully, I love the River Valley. I love going down there. So I got to look at trying to get another one. But bikes are expensive.
Oh, yeah. Well, that is brutal.
Yeah.
Stolen bike. Yikes. When do you have to come pick you up?
She did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't want Uber at home?
I thought about it after because it was like,
why did you just Uber at home?
I know.
It was
after a
1
while-
in the morning?
Yeah. Yeah.
You guys were biking at 1?
Well, we left earlier in the day and then we wind up going out to eat and hanging out and stuff like that. So yeah, it was.
So you were inside for how many hours?
Well, at least. Well, we were at a few different spots, so we were gone for quite a while. But yeah.
So their bike probably got stolen in the dark, like at 10 o'clock.
I have no idea. I thought that the street was busy enough that I'm like, wow, no one's going to take
Tough
this, So
tough one. Brownie's bike stolen.
Yeah.
Brutal weekend. Well, Brownie, have a better week this week.
I will.
Practice your golf game because we got the golf match coming up.
Hey,
I got some sources telling me you were B as in brutal on your last round.
I did struggle. I'm not gonna lie. So.
We'll see. I haven't had a round yet, so I can't say anything. Awesome. Let's get to Declan Kruger and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by eWell, your power play partner with the new website that puts power in your hands with 24/7 ordering and shipping with Edmonton and across Alberta. Go to ewel.ca.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
Edmonton Oilers news is Dustin Schwartz will not be returning as goalie coach following the end of his contract with the club. Other NHL news, the Flyers have signed defenseman Cam York to a 5-year, $25.75 million deal with an AAV of $5.15 million. York did file for arbitration and had 4 goals and 17 points in 66 games for the Flyers last season. Sabres have filed for arbitration with defenseman Bowen Byram. Buffalo had $13.64 million in cap space left, and Byram had 7 goals and 31 points in 82 games with the club last season. In the WHL, projected NHL number 1 pick, Gavin McKenna will be heading to Penn State for the 25-26 season before entering the draft. MLB action gets going in about 35 minutes time here with the Rays and Tigers. Then at 5:40, the Blue Jays in Chicago against the White Sox. Jose Barrios on the mound for that one on an 8-game win streak looking to extend. Wimbledon news from earlier. Grigor Dimitrov retired from his match against Jannik Sinner. First time in the Open era that anyone has retired from 5 consecutive Grand Slams, and he was leading the world number 1 2-0. Other news in the basketball world, the Indiana Pacers have confirmed that Tyrese Halliburton will not return next season, just focusing on rehab after his Achilles tear in Game 7 of the NBA Finals. I'm Declan Kruger, and this has been Sports 1440 Update.
1440 Stingray Radio Station. CHJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Legacy Heating and Cooling jingle auditions, take 1 for Gene Principe. Hey, thanks for being on time.
I'm always punctual. Now, how about some cool beats while I drop the heat?
Ready when you are.
Tall legacy, tall legacy.
Nice.
Boom! I'm a musical genius.
Legacy's gonna love this for AC season.
What's not to love with no interest and no Principe payments for 1 year?
Are you always like this?
Yep. Unlike Legacy, I never know when to cool it.
Legacy Heating and Cooling.
An electrical solar team is now making a play for sustainability and savings. They're specialists in powering up for a greener future.
That's the strategy, designing and installing high-efficiency solar panels. They're helping homes and businesses combat rising utility costs by harnessing the power of the sun.
A smart move for efficiency and the environment. Hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
New crust alert at Papa John's. Your favorite cheese meets your favorite pizza in the new cheddar crust pizza for only $17.99. Papa John's pizza makers created the perfect addition to their crust by melting garlic and herb seasoned cheddar cheese right on top of their fresh original dough that's made with 6 simple ingredients. Try a 1-topping cheddar crust pizza today for only $17.99. You better hurry though, because it's only for a limited time. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, proudly locally owned and operated.
Silent Rides is one of Alberta's premier bus charter companies. With state-of-the-art motor coaches, we provide our customers with the safest and most reliable ground transportation. Our seatbelt-equipped buses have become the preferred carrier for many local sports teams, tours, corporate outings, and other various travel across Western Canada. For more information and to request a quote, call 1-877-748-0991 or visit silentrides.ca.
With all the news about tariffs and price hikes coming our way, you have to be strategic with your money. St. Albert Dodge knows that and has some good news for you. Right now, all Ram 1500s are available with 0% financing for up to 72 months. So think about it. You can get into a brand new Ram 1500 right now at pre-tariff prices, while selection is still good, and pay 0 interest on your financing. That keeps more money in your pocket. And that's how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
Reports suggest that Canadian taste buds are bored to tears.
Can't handle another dull drink.
Summertime smoothie experts everywhere are recommending a watermelon wake-up from Booster Juice.
It's so smooth, cool, and refreshing.
And ridiculously delicious. Enjoy the Watermelon Wave and Watermelon Explosion smoothies, available all summer long at a Booster Juice near you. Stay cool, Canada.
Booster Juice, Canadian born, blending since 1999. Photographers, start your cameras. It's time for Vision Credit Union's annual photo contest. Enter your hometown snapshot and show us what makes your community amazing. Whether it's a view from the farm, a stroll down Main Street, or a weekend at the rodeo, we're looking for snapshots that show off your rural Alberta hometown. Share your photo before September 2nd for a chance to win cash prizes or a donation to your favorite community group. Learn more via Vision's Facebook page or go to whatsyourshare.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Leading Edge Physio. From weekend warriors to professional athletes, kids playing soccer to grandparents in the garden. Rotator cuff tears and tendonitis to post-surgical knees and hips. We fix your body. Life shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
He's not just another pair of glasses. It's the Jason Gregor Show. Thanks for checking out Edmonton Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
For 11, welcome back. Jason Gregor, Declan Kruger with you, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram. The Gregor Show is always presented by PlayAlberta.ca. And get in the game. Use the promo code Gregor50. You'll get a free $50 play at PlayAlberta.ca. And remember, tomorrow, $65 million up for grabs in Lotto Max and 8 Max Million. So get your tickets before 11 o'clock tomorrow night at PlayAlberta.ca. We will, coming up a little bit later on this hour, Nick Olczyk will join us talking the Utah Mammoth. They've had a very busy offseason. Also elected, I don't see it very often, but 2 teams, if you missed it on the weekend, the deadline for players to file for arbitration was on Saturday. And any player who doesn't file, then a team has 24 hours and they can file. And Utah they're going to take Jack McBain to arbitration. Meanwhile, the Buffalo Sabres are going to take Bowen Byron to arbitration. Now that ensures they get a deal. Right now, it's up to the player to pick, does he want a 1-year or a 2-year? Now, you have to pick that term before. If you're Bowen Byram, you take a 2-year term, walks you right to free agency. So he could do it. And if you're wondering, well, why would these teams do this? Well, because in the case of Buffalo, if they didn't do it, now you go through all summer, even if no one offers them an offer sheet, now they don't have a contract. Now they got to negotiate one. Maybe he holds out. And it's like, God, we were hoping maybe we'd be better. Now we don't have one of our better players, and it's the gong show. It's not good. Now this will guarantee they get a contract. And I think the same with Utah and McBain. So we'll talk to Nick Olczyk. We got Speck coming up. Also, Mark Killam, the head coach, fresh off his first ever win as a head coach in the CFL with the Edmonton Elks. And you'd see, hey, you know what? Killam's a very emotional guy. He was fired up. He got the Gatorade bath, and he's just like, yeah. He was ready to roll after that game yesterday. So he will join us at 5:20. Today, we're going to get to the oil report now, brought to you by Volvo Cars Edmonton. They are 13-time Excellence Award winner in sales and service. Great vehicles, better service at VolvoCarsEdmonton.com. And the oil report, the big news today, I reported that Dustin Schwartz officially not returning with the Edmonton Elks. I know a few weeks ago I had written about it that all the coaches' contracts were up, and I thought there was a good chance that Schwartz wasn't going to be coming back. It's official now. He's not returning. They've already started some interviews with some other coaches. But to me, I think it's bigger than just that. Now, Dustin Schwartz was here for over a decade, and I think despite what some people think, you actually go look, Mike Smith had some of the best years of his career here. Mikko Koskinen was never an NHL goalie before here, turned into be a serviceable Bappa. Cam Talbot had 2 of his best years ever in Edmonton. He was fine. Stuart Skinner developed into a goalie that made it to 2 Stanley Cup finals, dominated Dallas in back-to-back conference finals. Pretty good, but didn't get to the top. And I think they feel like, hey, time for a change. I think it's fine timing. I have no problem with it, but to think there was no success, I think that's probably a little bit of a misnomer. If your argument is, yeah, but Stoller was here for 6 games and look what he did afterwards. Yeah, he was in the American League for 2 more years. It took like 8 years before he became a starter in the NHL. So I don't know if those 6 games in Edmonton had any impact. I can tell you none. When you listen to goalies talk, do you think when a goalie gets traded midseason, the goalie coach is now going to have, and they're going to work on a ton of things with the goalie? No, it's not how it works. They're not going to change anything at that point. You just don't. Then maybe you look at the offseason, but he didn't come back. He played a total of 6 games. So, anywho, he's gone. Now, the Oilers, to me, if they just replace Dustin Schwartz, I think they're failing their organization. I really do. I think the Edmonton Oilers need to get on par with other franchises around the NHL. where they have a goalie department. You have a head like Bill Ranford in LA. You have Allaire in the Rangers. You have Zorn in Nashville. You have other guys. There's 14 teams around the NHL that have like a goalie department, right? Anaheim, Calgary, Colorado, Florida. They have the biggest department in the league. LA, Montreal. They don't necessarily have one person, but they got an extra body in their goalie department. Nashville, the Rangers, Pittsburgh, Toronto, San Jose, New Jersey. They had Scott Clemenson. He left, but they still have 4 people there. So those are the teams from all my research over the weekend that tells me that they have it's a legit goalie department. Because right now you had Dustin Schwartz and one other goalie coach. That's it. And it's unfair to expect your NHL head coach to work with your AHL guys. When is he going to do it? Right? If you have a goalie department, he oversees things. Then you have your NHL goalie coach and your AHL goalie coach, and sometimes in some cases they have four people. And you have the head, and he oversees everything. And you get a philosophy. And I think now more than ever is the time for the Oilers to do it. Stuart Skinner's 26. Connor Unger's 23. Samuel Johnson's 21. Nathan Day is 20. Those guys are all signed. Got draft picks the last 2 years. Emil Vinny, 19. Daniel Salonen, 19. So that's 6 goalies in your organization under the age of 27. You want to develop as many as you can. So in a position that we know is important, it can also be volatile. Why not give yourself the best chance, right? Like think about how many amateur scouts a team has, how many professional scouts a team has. Development, like we talk about draft and developing. So how are you going to develop your guys if you don't have somebody overseeing them all the time? Because if you have the head of your goalie department, he spends a few weeks with your NHL team, right? With the NHL coach, they work together. Then he goes down to the American League team for a bit. Then maybe he meets some of these guys, goes sees them in their junior team or wherever. There's lots of different things. He's doing video talks with them during the year. You can't expect Dustin Schwartz during the NHL season. He wasn't hanging, he wasn't talking to Samuel. Johnson just signed, so it's probably a bad example, but wasn't working with Connor Unger in the ECHL. Right? And so usually your head of your department might be your best teacher. And how many of you put your kids in, let's say, we talked about Sean Brown's camp, maybe Strutty's D camp. Well, you want Strutty to be the guy. Now, he might have some assistant guys working with him, and they're good, but they might not be as good. So you have your head. He's going to be able to communicate and watch and oversee and, more importantly, correct the goalies so they're doing what they want in their department. Now, every goalie has different strengths. They can't all be robotic and do exactly the same thing, but you still can work within a framework that's going to help out. So to me, the Oilers, now's your chance. Last few seasons, the Oilers are top revenue generating team in the entire league. You're telling me they can't put in $1 million, $1.3 million into a goalie department? Give me a break. Did you see the reports that the Oilers made $389 million in revenue this past year? Now, I couldn't get that 100% confirmed, but let's just say ballpark figure. Oh, it's only $350. Whatever. Their player salaries are $88 million, plus, the American League and other things like that. Coaches, management. So let's just say max it's $150, and I know it's not going to be close to that high. Right? It's probably closer to like $120, $110. Right? Then you got to pay for your arena. Sure. All that. I get it. Rent ain't that expensive. You got travel. Sure. That takes up a big, but come on. Even if you have $100 million on top of your NHL player salary, which would seem like a lot, you still got lots of money. So you're telling me you can't add a goalie department? Other teams are doing it, and they're not making the revenue you're making. So why don't the Oilers have it? I think it's a valid question. They need to have one. Create one. So if you're only going to hire a goalie coach, I think that's going to be a fail. Regardless of who the goalie coach is, I think you're limiting your chance of success as an organization in developing your goalies. So don't just think of one guy. And here's some names, because I talked to some people. Some of these guys have already been interviewed or are going to get interviewed. And well, some of them might not be interviewed, but these are some they should be interviewed. So guys I've heard, Sylvain Rodrigue, likely going to get an interview. He's with the organization before. Is currently in Florida. Right? Was worked with Skinner before. So there's some continuity there. Jeff Saleko is the Oilers goalie scout. He was just running the development camp. He has previous NHL goalie coaching experience in Detroit, so he'd be a candidate. You look guys who what about Stefan Waite, right? Former NHL goalie. He was in Chicago, won 2 cups with Bowman there. Then he went to Montreal, had loads of success with Carey Price. Now he's been out of the league for a few years. I was told in my weekend research that he would like to get back in. So at bare minimum, wouldn't you want to interview that guy? I think he'd be one that you'd interview. There's 2 names that came, and I talked to 4 different people in what I consider in the goalie world over the weekend. And the 2 names that came up from all 4 about young guys that they think are on the rise, Mackenzie Skapski. He's currently the Flames AHL coach. He's kind of from the umbrella of Benoit Allaire. Very good goal. Like a lot of people think Benoit Allaire is like the guru of goalie coaches, right? And he's worked closely with Dustin Wolf. He's very highly regarded from everybody. They think this guy is an up-and-comer in the goalie coaching world. And another one, Dan Stewart's name. He's the AHL Blues coach. He started in the OHL, then he worked up to U Sport. Now he's been in the AHL for 5 years. Another guy who people think pretty highly of. Another name I heard, I think it's getting an interview, is Pete Aubry. He's been in the NCAA the last few seasons. He's also worked in the AHL with Chicago's farm team in the past. So he has a Bowman connection, right? Guys, I still believe at the end of the day, it should be Chris Knobloch's hire. Your head coach should have the say in who his staff is. But you can help. Maybe there's, let's interview this guy. Why not interview 10 guys? What's the problem here? What else you doing in the offseason? You got time to interview the head coaches. The assistant coaches, your goalie coaches. But I would really look at Ian Clark. I would make a call to Vancouver. Ian Clark used to be their goalie coach. He wanted a lesser role. They didn't really seem happy with it, so they demoted him, right? He wanted to be the head of the department, but not be on ice as much, which is what Allaire and some other guys do. He's 57. It's just get too hard on his body being in the butterfly all the time. And in theory, it makes sense. Doesn't mean you have to do it all the time. You can have the younger guys show the movement, but you explain how you want it done, right? That makes sense to me. And Vancouver was like, no thanks. So they basically demoted him. They're still paying him, but he's now just a goalie scout. So he's a big personality, no question, but the guy's got an unreal track record. Go look at his time in Columbus. They had a stretch where 6 of 7 goalies they drafted all played in the NHL. In the NHL, for goodness sakes. Like, that's almost unheard of. So he's got a pretty good track record there in Vancouver as well. He'd be a guy. Sean Burke is another one that you could consider. I know he's in Vegas. He's doing some management, but I've heard rumblings that people think he would like to be more just in the coaching element. So I'm sure there's other names, but those are 2 of the bigger names for a goalie department that I think they should consider. And then you build it out there. You have the head of it, your NHL guy, your AHL guys. With these many young goalies, because one of your AHL guys can be in the ECHL, right? And you build it out. And then you start developing a little bit of a pipeline. So Ian Clark, in a few years, when he moves on, now you have somebody else who can take over. But that's where the Oilers need to go. I can't understand. I was kind of surprised that almost half the league has it and the Oilers don't. And the only argument I can find as to what, I hear was cost. Teams don't want to do it because of cost. Well, the Oilers, that's a joke. If it's cost for the Oilers, they're one of the highest revenue teams in the NHL right now. That should not be a factor. We're not asking for $10, $20 million. We're talking about a department of $1 million to $1.5 million is what I'm hearing. So it's definitely doable. And that's what the Oilers should, that to me should be one of their main focuses of the offseason. That's the Oil Report, brought to you by Volvo Cars. Edmonton, Nick Olczyk will join us next. It's the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. You can text us 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440 in our email inbox.
The sun is shining, the weather's warm, and some of Edmonton's favorite sports are back in season. If you're looking for the cherry on top of a perfect summer day, check out Play Alberta to experience casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Download the Play Alberta app today and deposit $20 or more with promo code SUMMER to claim a $100 casino bonus. That's promo code SUMMER for a $100 casino bonus on us. Redeemable once per Play Alberta account. Remember, if you gamble, please use your game sense.
What does excellence truly mean, and how does it guide your choices? At Volvo Cars Edmonton, excellence isn't just a goal, it's their standard. They shine in every aspect, from top-tier customer satisfaction in sales and service to impressive inventory, strong customer loyalty, and prices that are tough to match. Experience the dedication to quality firsthand at Volvo Cars Edmonton. Great vehicles, better service. Only at VolvoCarsEdmonton.com.
Breaking news, McDonald's international menu items are vanishing. McPizza Bites missing in Italy. Big Rusty stolen from Germany. Teriyaki chicken sandwich disappears in Japan. And a Biscoff McFlurry blackout in Belgium. Oh, this just in. We can now confirm the stolen favorites have resurfaced at McDonald's Canada. The international menu heist. Try them all while you can. For a limited time in participating McDonald's in Canada.
Canada's biggest appliance sale is at the Brick. Get up to $1,000 off select major kitchen appliances. Convertible fridge freezer start at just $199. Barbecues start at just $299. Get up to 60% off clearance models and below cost scratch and dent items. In-store only. Plus, pay 0% interest on appliances until 2029. Best of all, they'll beat any competitor's advertised price. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
Your Edmonton Elks face the BC Lions this Sunday at 5. Join the prehistoric party presented by Payworks. We're bringing back the Dino Nuggets at concession, baby dinosaur crawl, and bigger, better T-Rex combine at halftime. Tickets start at just $20 at goelks.com.
Diablo Boots sells only Canadian-made work and biker boots made by Canada West. No American or boots made in China, so no tariffs. All of Diablo's boots have replaceable soles and heels for longer life. Sizes 6 to 14 triple E. Buy quality, buy Canadian. And support Canada West and Diablo, the two best names in the boot business. So save on boots by Save On Foods. That's Diablo Boots, 3340 Gateway Boulevard on the east side of Save On Foods. Buy Canadian. They're terrific.
Hey, Gary, is that your dad?
No, this is Evan, the new sales rep I hired.
Oh.
First impressions matter, but when hair loss takes over, it can feel like you're not being seen for the maverick you truly are. Hi, I'm Dr. Vance Elliott. At Advanced Hair and Skin Surgery, we know that hair loss is more than just a cosmetic issue. It's personal. Let's discuss all the cutting-edge options available so you can make a great impression every time.
Book a free consultation today at drvanceelliott.com.
Hat-tricks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Welcome back. Jason Gregor. Declan Kruger with you. Sports 1440. Lots of text to get to. 833-401-1440. 833-401-1440. Lots of text to get to. 833-401-1440. But first, we're going to get to In the Room, brought to you by Action Electrical. Take action on your savings. Right now, you've been thinking about it? Solar. Look outside. That big yellow-orange thing, depending which color you want, can create a lot of energy for your home, save you a lot of money. Get it on your business or your home residence, actionelectrical.net. As today, we're going to go in the room to Utah, where the Mammoth have made lots of moves in the offseason. They're a team that many people feel is on the rise. And to discuss it, Nick Olczyk joins us. Nick, welcome to the show, man. How you doing?
Jason, great to be with you. A very sunny and hot day here in Salt Lake City, Utah. So got out to enjoy a little bit of the sun. But I'll tell you what's just as hot is this roster, considering what Bill Armstrong has done in free agency and where this team started last year, where they got to the end of the year. Some very, very exciting times ahead here in the great state of Utah.
Like the big move of the offseason, of course, was acquiring J.J. Peterka in that trade with Buffalo. They've also signed Turbo, Brandon Tanev, on the back end. They bring in Stanley Cup winner Nate Schmidt, Stanley Cup winning goalie, although he didn't play, Vitek Vanacek. And the roster is pretty much full, except for one guy, Jack McBain, who's maybe not a big name around the league, but he's a hell of a player. He is a really big, strong. I try to tell people, it's like the Adam Lowry of Utah. And they took him to arbitration, which I don't mind this move by Utah because they're like, hey, we want to get this guy under contract. What type of numbers do you think that we'll see from either side when they present? Because I know you have to put it in. Doesn't mean they'll actually go to arbitration. Usually they don't. Yeah. But this is just a great step to ensuring they get a deal.
Yeah, no question. And, as far as numbers go, obviously well above my pay grade, but he's the type of guy that in the last couple of years, the cap hit was at 1.6. I don't think there's any doubt that both with the cap going up and what he did for this team last year, that number is going to go up. Is he going to get into the $3 million range or more? I mean, yeah, I think you're probably in the right neighborhood, but just for what he brought game in and game out, I think was the most impactful part of his game is the consistency of it. And the last I checked, he had close to 100 hits more than the second best on the team of anybody else.
Yeah.
So this is the type of guy that is scary to play against if you're the opposition. Very comfortable on the wing. He played the center ice position for a good chunk of last year as well. So versatility, as you know, Jason, you could never have too many centers, whether guys struggle or you go through injuries or someone gets kicked out of the faceoff. To have a guy that is capable and comfortable playing in the middle of the ice, that's what you got in Jack Bain. And I'll tell you what, effective at times too on the power play, standing at the net front. And you're going to need a bulldozer to move the guy that they call Bain Train out of the front of the net when he's trying to take away the goalie's eyes. But I really do think that the area of his game, aside from the touch he has around the net and then, the straight ahead attitude that he plays with, and, the guy that's going to hit and crash and bang, is his forechecking ability. I felt like that was one thing that really stood out to me most and was something that made him such an impactful player, whether the goals were going in or not. Like he is going to make his imprint on the game, and his fingerprints are going to be all over it, whether it's a goal, whether it's a hit or the forechecking ability, as I mentioned, that he does have. So I'm just happy to see that progress is being made one way or another to him becoming a part of this team for the foreseeable future. Because although he may not scream a sexy player, he is vital to what the Utah Mammoths are going to do next year, for what the Utah Hockey Club did last year. And I think lastly, the maturity that he has, that he acts and that he plays with, on any team, everybody has a role. And no matter what your role is, you got to do two things. You got to accept it and you got to execute on it. And whether Jack McBain played on the second line and he was on the second power play unit, or whether he was a part of the fourth line, he knew what his role was each and every game. And I think that's what makes him such an exceptional player for this team and where they're at as they try to have an even more successful season next year.
Where do you see JJ Peterka fitting in?
Well, he's definitely going to be a huge offensive player for this team. Obviously, no question in the top six. And I would really love to see, where, and we should say I'm excited to see where he's going to fit in on the power play, because usually that right flank, where we've seen him score a lot of goals in Buffalo, in terms of a one-timer option, that's usually Clayton Keller's position. So does JJ maybe move down low goal line so then he can kind of ride up as Keller looks for a little exchange? Does he start off on the second unit? So I think there's a lot of options that you have with a guy like JJ Peterka, who I think is as good of a playmaker as he is a goal scorer. And yes, 68 points last year, 27 goals. But for how the season ended for Utah, that top line was Keller, Cooley, and Gunther. And then you go to the second line, and as of now, you would think Barrett Hayton would be the second line center, and you put him there with Nick Schmaltz and JJ Peterka. So, interchangeable, yes, and the type of guy that is going to bring even more of an offensive dynamic to a team that already has a couple of studs, the ones that I just mentioned. But you can't ever have enough guys that can score. And I think the one thing as the season went on, as the games got tighter, as the games got more important, I think that was one area where the Utah Hockey Club last year, now Utah Mammoth, struggled at times was finding a guy that in a moment could put the puck in the back of the net in those key moments. So you can't ever have enough goals. And I think an unbelievable get by General Manager Bill Armstrong and his staff to bring in a guy like JJ Peterka, and then to go ahead and sign into a 5-year extension, knowing that he is not just going to be a part, but he's going to be a huge part of this team and what they can do on the goal scoring front moving forward. And Jason, if I could too, the two guys that Utah gave away in that trade, I shouldn't say gave away, but traded, was Michael Kessering and Josh Doan, and two guys that played huge roles on this team last year. I think Michael Kessering's going to be a great fit in Buffalo. I think the door is going to be fully ajar for him to really step into an impactful role there, and smooth skating, a bomb of a shot at 6'5". I think those are the only types of guys that are created in video games, and everything that he will bring to the Buffalo Sabres would be great. And Josh Doan, the ceiling, he's going to break through it, I think, in Buffalo in terms of opportunity and more time to play in bigger roles. I think he has one of the best sticks in the entire league, and by that I mean breaking up plays on the forecheck in the neutral zone. Does he skate as fast as Nikolai Ehlers? He doesn't. But boy, oh boy, does he ever think the game to where he's usually in the right spot before he even has to be there, which gives him the upper hand. And excited to see how both those guys are able to do in Buffalo. But in this business, as you know, Jason, to get someone good, you got to give away people that are good too. And I think a trade that works out, even though both those guys are fan favorites. Tough for the fan base to swallow, but that's the business, and love the move in terms of bringing in a guy that's going to be really impactful in JJ Peterka.
Nick Olchek joins us here in Sports 1440. Peterka comes in. Obviously, he's going to add to their offense. I don't think there's any question about that. You know, you got Clayton Keller, Dylan Gunther, Nick Schmaltz. What about Lawson Krause? Right? Like, is he more of a third line guy? Ideally, like him and McBain, just hammer guys. Like, you know, he didn't have the offense he wants. So do you think he can rebound?
I do think he can rebound, and there were long stretches there, Jason, where Lawson was snake bit, and the pucks were not just, he wasn't getting the bounces, but the puck was bouncing the other way, or he'd hit the post. And look, I mean, I think he'd be the first one to tell you that it was a year that he needs to, he needs to, and he's going to want to improve upon. But I think one of the intangibles that he brings is being such a great leader in the room. There's a reason why he was named the associate captain of the Utah Mammoths, because of how he's able to hold that room accountable and bring it every night, whether the goals are being scored or not. And there was one game this year where he was a healthy scratch, and Andre Turini sent a message, and he was in a rut. He was in a tough stretch. And after he came back, after sitting, he was like a bull in a china shop. And this is a guy that's 6'4", well over 200 pounds. And just prior to this last year, where he only had 12 goals in 81 games, he had 3 straight seasons with at least 20 goals. I think he's a perennial and consistent 20 goal per year guy. Now, our longtime NHLers who play over 500 games in their careers, a guy like Lawson Krause, are they going to have a tough year here and there? Yeah, they are. But I think the exciting part for me is that I can't wait to see how he is going to be in camp and how he is going to be to start the season, because he is a straight ahead type of player. He's going to drive the net wide, but good enough hands to be able to finish in tight. So yes, last year, he'd be the first to tell you that wasn't his best. But if there's one thing I've known by being around him, talking with him from time to time and watching him play consistently, look out, because I think that there is another 20-goal campaign in the works for Lawson Krause.
And the other guy in Utah to watch out for this year is Logan Cooley. He had I know it's his last year of his entry-level deal, but man, he's a special young player. There's no doubt. When you look at Cooley, like if you look at line combinations, who do you think fits best with Cooley?
You got to have guys that can play fast. And it's not just thinking fast and passing fast. It's guys that have to be able to keep up with them. And how they ended last year was with Clayton Keller off to the left and Dylan Guenther off to the right. And I'll tell you what, that's a young line. That's a formidable line. That's a very creative line. And I think there were times throughout the season where they maybe did a little too much. They wanted to be fancy. They wanted to be overly cute. And they wanted to pass the puck into the back of the net. And then there were stretches where they'd make one pass, it'd be a give, a go, and a pass back door, and the puck would be in, and they'd be celebrating. But I think in order to play with a guy like Logan Cooley, who this last season I consistently called the best two-way 20-year-old center in the league, I don't think there was any doubt about it. Now he is, since a year older, he's 21 going into next year. His two-way game, to me, screams maturity. And yeah, were there some rough patches? Was there a game where, were there a couple of games where he didn't have it? Yeah, that's the case whether you're 21 or 31. But how he dedicates himself to the defensive side of the game, I think helped him a lot last year. There's no shifts off, and his skating ability doesn't just help him offensively. It doesn't just help him create and blow by guys and make defenders look silly from time to time. But defensively, he's able to keep up with certain players. I mean, I remember watching a game and doing a game where he was tasked with covering the fastest player in the world, Connor McDavid, and he did more than keep up in the D zone, not just the straight ahead speed, but the side to side agility. So to your original question, Jason, I think Clayton Keller and Dylan Guenther make really great sense, because on that line, you've got a guy that can push the pace up the middle.
Yep.
He's gonna get back. But I'll tell you what, on the offensive side, Cooley can not only set the pace, but a guy like Clayton Keller can be thinking 2 or 3 steps ahead. And then, which I think you need on any line that has guys that defer more, and that's what Keller and Cooley are. They are more of deferring type of players. They want to facilitate the puck. You need to have a guy on the line that's going to shoot first, answer questions later, and that's what you got Dylan Guenther on that line, a guy that I think in his career is going to get you 30 to 40 goals every single year. So I think as of now, if I was making those decisions, and I'm not, I think that first line looks pretty darn good in terms of guys that can not only score and create, but can really push the pace and keep the defending teams on their heels.
And lastly, do you foresee, is there any other young guys in the organization that might, or they have enough young guys already? And you think this is, the roster we see is pretty experienced. They brought in Vanasek because Connor Ingram, I don't think is ready to play yet. So no young guys that you think might come in and make this lineup this year?
There's 2 Russians that were signed who played over in the KHL. They won the championship over there with Lokomotiv. Danil But,
okay,
who is a 6'5" right-handed forward.
Yeah.
And he can move for his size, but the hands in tight are astounding. So that's one guy I would think about on the offensive side. And the other Russian fellow that they signed, Dmitry Simashev, 6'6". He's mean from time to time, but boy, oh boy, can he skate, and he can really move the puck, and he can get up and go. So I think it might be some time before we see Danil But. He'll probably get some marinating time down in Tucson, which is something that this organization loves to do, and I'm a huge proponent of, because you need these players to be able to learn how to play in North America as well as the professional game over here. But look for a guy like Dmitry Simashev, a defenseman, to make a real impact on this team. And I'll tell you what, not a bad guy to be led by and to come in and join the organization when you got a fellow Russian like Mikhail Sergachev here, who will be able to help them on the day-to-day.
Well, that's their 2 draft picks. Well, technically, I know it was Arizona, but they got them. They were 6th and 12th overall in 2023, if I'm not mistaken. So that's 2 pretty good young players. And hey, nothing wrong if they're in the American League. Absolutely, to me, give them time in the American League, got way better chance to bring them along than play 8 minutes on the 4th line. So I love it. Nick, great rundown, man. Really appreciate it. Great to talk to you. We'll do it again soon. Enjoy the summer.
Jason. Keep up the great work, man. You too. Thanks.
There you go. That is Nick Olczyk. Ottawa, you know what? They're a team that's coming. Think about that. 2 first-rounders, 6th and 12th overall in 2023 in Simashev. And I didn't know that. I knew that Daniel But did sign. I did not know that Simashev had signed. I don't even think it's I have to look. Is he even listed as signed on the I don't even think he's on Puckpedia. So that might be, you just tell us a sign in there. Kind of like it. So there you go. Nice. Quick break. We'll return. We got lots of text to get to on the goalie department and more. It's the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. $65 million. Get your tickets for Lotto Max today.
Reports suggest that Canadian taste buds are bored to tears.
Another dull drink.
Summertime smoothie experts everywhere are recommending a watermelon wake-up from Booster Juice.
It's so smooth, cool, and refreshing.
And ridiculously delicious. Enjoy the Watermelon Wave and Watermelon Explosion smoothies, available all summer long at a Booster Juice near you. Stay cool, Canada.
Booster Juice, Canadian born, blending since 1999.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Diablo Boots sells only Canadian-made work and biker boots made by Canada West. No American or boots made in China, so no tariffs. All of Diablo's boots have replaceable soles and heels for longer life. Sizes 6 to 14 triple E. Buy quality, buy Canadian. And support Canada West and Diablo, the 2 best names in the boot business. So save on boots by Save On Foods. That's Diablo Boots, 3340 Gateway Boulevard on the east side of Save On Foods. Buy Canadian. They're terrific. It's happened again, and construction season is in full swing. Job delayed, money lost, and clients disappointed because your rigging failed and it wasn't inspected. Don't let this happen to you. Have your lifting slings, fittings, hoisting tools, and safety harnesses checked with Titan Supply. Titan Supply offers certified on-site and in-house rigging inspections and service, so they can repair it, replace it, and recertify it. Titan Supply in Edmonton, Grand Prairie, Red Deer, and Calgary, and at titansupply.ca. Lift, dig, haul.
Farm, ranch, acreage, or lake lot. They're here to help at Bashaw Concrete Products. Family owned and operated for 60 years. They continue to provide the best products and service, period. Call now for your free quote on the highest quality ready mix and gravel, a new septic tank, or an outhouse pad and tank, plus precast cattle water pads, garage sumps, and more. Call 780-372-3854 for prompt delivery. Bashaw Concrete Products, 780-372-3854. BashawConcrete.com.
Alberta is already the economic engine of Canada, but we could be so much more prosperous if Ottawa would work with us, rather than attack our economy and jobs. The status quo needs to change, but how? The Alberta Next panel wants to hear from you on how we can best strengthen Alberta's sovereignty and position within a united Canada. Please visit alberta.ca/next and tell us what you think Alberta's next step should be. A message from the Government of Alberta.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantork. What's the best way to beat the tariffs? Buy Canadian. Cantork's products are not only made in Canada, but right here in Edmonton. Save money, support Canada at cantork.com.
Hat tricks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
$4:49. Welcome back. We continue on Monday afternoon. Lots going on. The Jays looking to win their 9th in a row. In case you're wondering, the Jays' longest winning streak in franchise history is 11 games. They've done it 5 times. Won 10 once and 9 4 times. The Jays have won 8 in a row, and they're playing the lowly Chicago White Sox for the next 3. The White Sox are 30-60. So the Jays, the way they're playing, there's a chance they could maybe tie the franchise record this week. We shall see. 833-401-1440, 401-1440. Let's get to lots and lots of texts coming in. Hey, Gregor, I have to say, but you look at the Oilers and their coaching department, and Gregor, I have to admit, I never even thought about it. I didn't even know that other teams have it. So my question is, why haven't the Oilers had it before? I don't know. Well, I guess they felt like it wasn't necessary. It's just that simple. There's no other rhyme or reason. Some teams will put more of a value and an emphasis on other things. Other teams will put more of a value and emphasis on other things. And the Oilers to date have felt like a goalie department wasn't their thing. Now, it doesn't guarantee you success, for sure. But when you look at teams who have had some consistent goaltending, it's worked in some places, hasn't worked in others. But the list of teams, now Florida has one, but again, it's not like Florida's got some young goalies here that have been, just pushing through and dominating, right? The Rangers have done it. Now they've had Shesterkin, but they've had Francois Allaire there for a while, and they had, you went from Lundqvist pretty good, then Cam Tao was a backup there, then he left to Edmonton, and he was a solid player, and obviously now you got Shesterkin, so that it's kind of a tough one, but obviously it worked. That you're able to develop two young guys and become like stars. Now, maybe they would have been anyway, but Benoit Allaire gets a lot of credit in that one. You look at Toronto, guys you bring in, what they've done. Their goaltending last year was pretty solid. Florida, look at Calgary with Dustin Wolf, Anaheim with Dostal. Look at the LA Kings, Kemper, Vezina finalist last season. Montreal, Montembeault, they've developed him fairly well. Right now, Nashville's got UC Saros. He's been there for a long time, and their goalie, Coach Zorn at the top's been there a long time, and they've had some success there. They don't have a ton of young guys underneath them, but, they had Askarov. They've had other guys who've gone on to other places now just because they're not going to get the start in Nashville. So, it's worked. And I think it's something that, for me, when you are a team that makes as much money as the Oilers, you definitely should be doing it. Hey, Greg's went to my first Elks game on Sunday. Maybe I should go more often. They won. Have to say, highly entertaining game. I don't know if I expect that many points, but it was entertaining for a real non-football guy. And you know what? Half the time, that's all you want in sports, Doug, is to be entertained. So if you go there and you're entertained, how could you not be? 500 plus passing yards between the two teams, 200 rushing yards between the two teams, and 400 return yards, including 2 touchdown returns, one by each team. Like that. That was very much an entertaining game. There's no question. No question. Hey, Gregor, I took my girlfriend to Costco for our first date for a hot dog. She never had one. I should note that we also did a movie afterwards. We crush hot dogs at Costco together to this day, 12 years from Ryan K. Oh, yeah, buddy. They're pretty good. There's no question about it. Hey, boys. Who is in charge of signing free agent goalies? The Oilers haven't had a ton of success, it seems, with them lately. Well, if you go back the last decade, so that's a fair question. So let's look at it. So he wasn't a free agent, but they traded for Cam Talbot at the 2015 draft. Cam Talbot's first 2 years in Edmonton were great. And then his third season was going well. If you go back, he started well. Then they pulled his contract offer. He thought he had a contract extension in November. Then they pulled it off the table, said, we're not going to sign you. And then you just go back and look, and you can see Talbot, obviously, it impacted him. And then he hit the skids the rest of that season. They eventually get it traded. But look, then he bounced back and was a decent goalie. Right? They brought in Mikko Koskinen, so I guess that's a free agent signing. Never really been an NHL goalie before. He became a serviceable backup. Right now, he got overplayed the first year, so his numbers were bad, but that's not his fault. Right? Like he hadn't trained and done anything to be a starter to play that many games. It was ridiculous. It's like, they're like, hey, guys, guess what? We got Mikko Koskinen. You know what we're going to do? We're going to play him like he's Grant Fuhr in his prime, where he's playing 75 games. Because that's what he did. He played, I think Koskinen, what did he play? Like 24 the last 27? Like, it was ridiculous. Big guy, not in condition, man. Like, it was terrible. And he didn't have success with it. But he became a decent backup. He was fine as a backup. And that's probably all he was ever going to be, but that's nothing wrong with it. Mike Smith, good signing. Jack Campbell, awful. So, Koskinen for backup, decent. Now, I don't like the contract extension. That's totally different. the contract we signed. I remember still I was on holiday. He starts out to call me because they couldn't believe it. And he thought it was like, the total, not per year. He thought it was a 3-year deal at 4.5, which is 1.5 a year. Oh, it's a decent deal. No, 4.5 per season. Oh man, that was a terrible contract. So the Talbot one I think was good. Koskinen was okay, bad contract, but his play was decent. Smith, good. Campbell, bad. So who is in charge of it? Usually it's your GM with the help of, your goalie coach will have a say, no question, in it. And sometimes your coach, I know Dave Tippett had a big say in Mike Smith, had coached him before, was a huge fan of it. So there's multiple different ones. Hey, Greggs, I have to admit, you got me into the Jays last week. This is the first time I've watched 2 Jays games all weekend. Highly, highly entertaining. Thanks for it. Looking forward to it. Do you think they continue it? Well, they're not going to win every game, but do I think the Jays can legitimately be a playoff contender? No question, right? No question about it. So they lead the AL East by 3 games. Tampa and New York are both right there. And the Red Sox are only 6.5 back. It's not a crazy amount. The Jays, just keep in mind, the Jays just made up 7 games on the Yankees in 1 week. The Yankees lost 7 in a row. The Jays won 7 in a row. They've actually won 8. The Yankees won their last one, right? The Jays are 8-0 in their last. The Yankees are 7-1 in their last 8 games. Like, it's unbelievable. So you can make up ground fairly quickly in a long season like MLB. So they're not safe, but if you look at the wild card race, and it's really going to come down to mainly, it looks like the American League East and maybe Seattle, because Seattle is ahead of the Red Sox right now. But so the Jays, if you look at, they are 6.5 games ahead of Boston for the final playoff spot. That's how I look at it, right? Because Boston is 2.5 back of Seattle, who has the 3rd wild card. So yeah, I think the Jays are legit. Now, what are they going to do as management at the deadline? Now, Manoah is going to be pitching on a rehab assignment here right away. I don't know if they can expect that much from him, but who knows? Maybe after the surgery, he'll come back. Because remember, a few years ago, Alex Manoah was just bawling. And you were like, hey, this guy's going to be a lot of people thought he was going to be like the next great starter for a long time. And it didn't pan out. But that doesn't mean he can't come back and be decent. We'll see. So I think they need another starting for sure. And probably a little bit more depth in the bullpen. Like, I don't think they need more position players, because keep in mind, like Santander's not playing. Varsho's barely played. And so they got all the guys they have. So that adds to how much more do you really need? Like, they don't need a catcher. They got a catcher. I don't even know if there's a position that I would look and say, oh, wow, that's what they really need. I think it's more the pitching staff. And that's what I would expect they would look to acquire. But yeah, the Jays are fun to watch, man. No question. They got 2 All-Stars, if you missed it, Vladdy Guerrero and Kirk, both named to the All-Star team. And that's fine. That's kind of, I think, symbolic of how the Jays are. They haven't had anybody dominant at different times, right? For a month, Clement hit 400, right? Early in the year, Hoffman was on fire. Then he hit the skids. Now it looks like he's coming back. So it'll be, it should be good. I think the Jays are more than fine. Hey, Gregor, who are the Oilers pro scouts? Well, they got quite a few different ones. Oh man, let me go off I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Warren Reichel. Zach Cassian was a scout, but is no longer with the Oilers organization. And then they got a bunch, like, I don't know if I would list, like, do I know all of their pro scouts intimately? No. Your GM has a big say a lot. Bill Scott obviously does some pro scouting as a assistant GM, right? Warren Reichel's their director of pro scouting. Who are some of their other scouts? But yeah, I'd have to go through the list. I don't know them all. They got different guys bounce around. Their goalie scout was just a guy, what I call Jess Saleko. He's their goalie scout for the pro scouts. He's former goalie coach in the NHL and might be in the running for this job. We'll see. We'll come back. Mark Spector will join us. Also, Mark Killam, the head coach of the Edmonton Oilers, just got his first victory as a head coach. He'll join us after Spec as we get to Declan Kruger and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca, your one-stop shop. Live dealer, lottery, instance, casino, and sports. Do it all at playalberta.ca.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Edmonton Oilers news. Dustin Schwartz will not be returning as the Oilers goalie coach following the end of his contract with the club. Other news around the NHL, the Philadelphia Flyers have signed defenseman Cam York to a 5-year, $25.75 million deal with the AAV of $5.15 million. York did file for arbitration. Buffalo, they have filed for arbitration with defenseman Bowen Byram. Buffalo had $13.64 million in cap space left, and Byram had 7 goals and 31 points in 82 games with the club last season. WHL news is projected number 1 pick Gavin McKenna will be headed to Penn State for the 25-26 season before entering the draft. MLB action right now. 2 games underway. Rays and Tigers tied at 0-0 in at the top of the second. Marlins and Reds, same score. That one delayed in the top of the first. Blue Jays will be in action at 5:40 today out in Chicago, taking on the White Sox. Jose Barrios on the mound for that one, and George Springer named AL Player of the Week after the 7-game sweep in the homestand for the Jays. NBA news is Paulo Banchero has signed a 5-year max rookie contract extension that could reach $287 million. The deal includes a player option, the first for a rookie max since 2021. Pacers have confirmed that Tyrese Haliburton will not return next season and will just focus on his rehab after his Achilles tear in Game 7 of the finals. I'm Declan Kruger. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
Adventure just doesn't stumble into your life. It roars to life with Riverside Motorsports. Tearing up trails or cruising the open road. Yamaha ATVs, side-by-sides, motorcycles, and dirt bikes deliver the performance you crave. Built for thrills, ready for your next adventure. Yamaha's legendary performance and reliability take you there. Make Mother Nature your playground on a Yamaha from Riverside Motorsports. Located on St. Albert Trail. RideRiverside.com. Riverside Motorsports. What you do for fun is our business.
Canada's biggest appliance sale is at the Brick. Get up to $1,000 off select major kitchen appliances. Convertible fridge freezers start at just $199. Barbecue start at just $299. Get up to 60% off clearance models and below-cost scratch and dent items in-store only. Plus, pay 0% interest on appliances until 2029. Best of all, they'll beat any competitor's advertised price. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
Your Edmonton Elks face the BC Lions this Sunday at 5. Join the prehistoric party presented by Payworks. We're bringing back the Dino Nuggets at concession, baby dinosaur crawl, and bigger, better T-Rex combine at halftime. Tickets start at just $20 at goelks.com.
Breaking news, McDonald's international menu items are vanishing. McPizza Bites missing in Italy. Big Rusty stolen from Germany. Teriyaki chicken sandwich disappears in Japan. And a Biscoff McFlurry blackout in Belgium. Oh, this just in. We can now confirm the stolen favorites have resurfaced at McDonald's Canada. The international menu heist. Try them all while you can. For a limited time in participating McDonald's in Canada.
I'm Rick Showers from No Bull RV. Did you wake up this morning and think, I want to be a used RV salesman? If you're like most people, the answer is no. But if you want to sell your quality used RV yourself, then a used RV salesman is what you are.
Welcome to your new job.
That's right, Bob. Put it up on all the best websites. Wait for the phone to ring and be ready day or night, weekday or weekend. Drive out to the storage lot for every random tire kicker who calls and hope that what you have is exactly what they want.
There's an easier way to do this, Rick.
That's right, Bob. You could bring it to No Bull RV. We love selling used RVs, and the customers are already here. Commercials like this bring them in by the hundreds. All you need to do is cash the check when it leaves our lot. Used RV salesman is not what you wanted to be when you woke up this morning. And if it was, well, I think you better come out here and apply for a job.
And that's No Bull.
NoBullRV.ca.
The sun is shining, the weather's warm, and some of Edmonton's favorite sports are back in season. If you're looking for the cherry on top of a perfect summer day, check out Play Alberta to experience casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Download the Play Alberta app today and deposit $20 or more with promo code SUMMER to claim a $100 casino bonus. That's promo code SUMMER for a $100 casino bonus on us. Redeemable once per Play Alberta account. Remember, if you gamble, please use your game sense.
It's happened again, and construction season is in full swing. Job delayed, money lost, and clients disappointed because your rigging failed and it wasn't inspected. Don't let this happen to you. Have your lifting slings, fittings, hoisting tools, and safety harnesses checked with Titan Supply. Titan Supply offers certified on-site and in-house rigging inspections and service, so they can repair it, replace it, and recertify it. Titan Supply in Edmonton, Grand Prairie, Red Deer, and Calgary, and at titansupply.ca. Lift, dig, haul.
Sports Radio is back. The Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
After top of the hour, hope you're having a lovely day as you make your way home on a Monday evening. Of course, coming up this week, you have the Riverhawks. They are on the road. The Stingers on the road. And the Elks are at home Sunday against the BC Lions. And a big game. And we'll talk to head coach Mark Killam, fresh off his first CFL win as a head coach. You got the proverbial and expected Gatorade shower after the victory. After Mathis received the onside kick attempt by Ottawa. Or sorry, not Ottawa. Yeah, by Ottawa. And the rest is history for the green and gold. It is the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Alberta's only regulated online gambling website. And remember, if you do gamble, use your game sense. Stay within your limits. All sorts of things that can help you out. Go to GameSenseAB.ca. Time now for the Spec Report, brought to you by GS Construction, your underground infrastructure specialist. Whether it's simple as running water in your house or the freeway that gets you home, they do it all at GS Construction. As we welcome in Mark Spector. Spec, how you doing?
Doing great, man. How you doing, Jay?
I'm doing very well.
Okay.
Spec,
I saw your stuff on the goalie department today.
Yep.
Interesting stuff.
Yeah. So Schwartz officially out, which I'd reported that a few weeks ago. I thought it was close, and now just official. And they've already conducted some interviews, my understanding is. And to me, though, the Oilers, I think they kind of got to keep pace with the other team. They do a lot of good things well. There's no question about it. Like, their facility is one of the best in the league. There's no questions there. Travel, everything. They do all that. But when you look at a goalie department, Spec, and you've got 6 goalies who are 26 and under now, 4 of them signed, 2 that were just drafted in the last 2 years. When you've got 14 of other teams in the league who have goalie departments that are headed up by like Bill Ranford in LA, and you got Zorn in Nashville, Allaire in New York, and in other teams where they got one guy at the top, and then you've got an NHL head coach, and then you got an American League guy and another American League guy, and you develop them all with the program. I think the Oilers got to get on that page, man. Like, there's no reason why they can't.
No, absolutely. It's. I mean, the microcosm of that is if you got a kid that's trying to play hockey, but he's not playing hockey in the summer, and he's not playing elite hockey, and he's not getting trained, and he's not going to, any of the high level things. All the other kids who are passing by. If everybody else is doing it, Jay, or if certainly half the league's doing it, you're either keeping up or you're falling behind. There's no doubt about it. Goalies, I think we're past the world where we just say, goalies are voodoo. I don't understand them. I think you got to try harder, right?
Yep.
And you got to find people who do understand them. And you got to give your, like sometimes finding Mika Kiprasov, if you never have the right guy working with him, maybe you never find that guy, right?
Yeah, and hey, for Calgary, that worked out to be a pretty good trade, and I'm sure San Jose was like, "Oh, geez, maybe we should have traded Toskala instead."
The franchise goalie right there, baby. Yeah,
can make a big difference to your team, no question. So that's something that the Oilers will be working on. The Elks, Spec, huge win for them. It was too early to say it was a must-win game, but man, it was damn close. And what? First of all, just give me your thoughts of the overall game.
Well, I thought that, like, I liked what I saw. I thought a strong start on offense made everybody believe right away. You know, I thought would they score the first 2 possessions? So you go, okay, right? We can move the ball. We've got a game plan that's working here. I thought their defense gave them some stops early as well. I mean, what was it, 22-3?
Yep.
You know, that tells me that all facets were firing. Oh my God, I knew it had been a long time since I witnessed a green and gold guy run a punt back for a touchdown. I didn't realize it's been 10 years.
Yeah, for a punt return, a kickoff return 2023, but a punt return, yes, since 2015.
Well, punt returns are supposed to be, kick returns are more rare than punt returns. So a decade between punt return touchdowns I didn't realize that it was that long. So there's a beacon of hope, man. Oh my goodness. Just to see that with our own eyes and know that it really happened. That's a good sign. So then they had some adversity. You know what? They had some adversity and the other guys got close, but they didn't get ahead. I just felt like they showed some character. They bent a little. They didn't break. They had a couple bad breaks go their way. They sucked it up and got past it. So they're starting to look like a more competitive football team. And, I hate to say it, but it's about time, isn't it?
Oh God, it's more than enough time. I don't think there's any debate about that.
Yeah.
When I look at my only thing, what did you make of the decision to put your 22-3 and your starting quarterback hasn't thrown an incompletion and you go to Cody Fajardo for a series?
Yeah, that's a decision you made on Tuesday that looks real dumb on Sunday to me. That's a decision your OC and your head coach decided, we're going to do this. We're going to run the 2 quarterback offense no matter what the score, no matter what the situation. They made that decision on Tuesday or Wednesday. Here's the plays Fajardo's going to run, Fajardo. And then when the moment comes, you realize, wait a second, this guy's 9 for 9 and we're taking him out. What the hell are we doing this for?
Yeah.
So, that was goofy. I never liked that offense. It doesn't meet my eye, this 2 quarterback offense stuff where we put a guy in for no reason. I don't love that. I guess someone there does. Do you think it's going to last another week or 2?
Well, they did it again after they scored a touchdown, and Mark Kilm's coming up right after you, so I'm going to ask him about that. And he said, "Hey, it was something we planned on." Is that? Well, they both acted like pros. I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever, but that doesn't really explain to. So I'll dig a little deeper and to find out what was, what's the thought? I could see if Cody was the starter and you put in Trey Ford, who can scramble and was a young Trey Ford and could run around, because now you're giving the defense a totally different look. But with Trey Ford basically being a pocket quarterback passer here the last 2 games, bringing in Cody Fajardo, I don't think it really gives you a massive different look to the defense if that was your goal. And if it was like, wow, we don't really like how the quarterback's playing, but at that point, he was 9 for 9. So I'm not sure you can really hate what he's doing at that point either.
No. I mean, there's no question in anyone's mind. They're not taking Ford out because they didn't like his game. He's 9 for 9. Had 22 points on the board, I believe. Or maybe only 15. It was before the run back, I think. But anyway, whatever. It wasn't. What do you want? Your quarterback to do better than perfect?
Yeah.
So it's obviously, again, it's a decision they made on Tuesday that seemed like a good idea, that when it rolled out on Sunday seemed kind of awkward, didn't it?
Yeah, the timing was a little strange to me.
Yes, absolutely.
Trey Ford. Now, I got confirmation from multiple sources. No one in the organization is telling him not to run. I think Trey Ford's like, hey, I want to show people I can be a pocket passer, and it's worked. His numbers, he had a perfect quarterback ranking last game. You can't get better than that. So it's obviously good, but it's still at times it's like I look at, and I know he's a little slighter. So, he's not going to run around, and I'm comparing different leagues, but, Doug Flutie would pass for 6,000 yards, but still run for quite a bit, right? And Damon Allen would obviously do it. Tracy Ham and, Lamar Jackson and other guys like that. I hope Trey Ford doesn't just become a pure pocket passer, because I think one of his best elements is he gets outside, and now the D's like, oh my God, do I commit? Is he going to run? What's he going to do? And so I understand if he's trying to show, because that's what they want him to be, is the poise and everything. And he had some really good throws. But I hope he doesn't lose the fact that his creativity and ability to scramble and sometimes just to take it will keep a team honest defensively.
Yeah, I think we're still in a real steep learning curve for Trey Ford. How many CFL starts would he have right now under his belt, Jay?
Trey Ford?
Ballpark.
Oh, less than, I think maybe 21 right now.
I was going to say, does he have 20 yet?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, not many.
So So, and a lot of those starts for a team that didn't have a chance or give him a chance. He's running for his life every time. So here he is starting behind a proper, it looks like an offensive line that can take care of him. He's got an offense. He's got a group of receivers. He's got a pretty good group of receivers. Like, they're okay. They're giving him a chance to succeed. He's got a couple good running backs. I want to say that he'll never forget how to run. And I think as he gets, we've watched all these older quarterbacks that can move. What they figure out is, when do I run that opens up the offense? What's the best time to run? Is it being a rollout guy? Is it running quarterback draws? Is it just flat out scrambling if my first two receivers aren't open? But my point is this: he'll never forget how to scramble. I get what he's doing. He's trying to hone the other half of his game. And I'll tell you what, if he ever gets to be as good a passer as he is a scrambler, oh boy, are you going to have a good quarterback there now, aren't you?
Yeah, I actually looked it up, 21, so I was pretty close. So 21
pretty
starts. Good. So really, there's just like over one full season in the league as far as starts go. So and it was banged up last year, so maybe that's why. But it is something that we hope he gets back.
It out, man. He's figuring it out.
Yeah, he's made some passes where no one can tell me that Trey Ford can't pass the ball. I still think at times, like Stephen Dunbar, I did notice a few times he's open downfield, and I think that to me, the next phase now is and we saw parts of it yesterday, but Dunbar, I felt like he's been open a few times. Now they hit other guys, which is fine, but down the field a little bit more, he's open. So I wonder if we start to see that a little bit as the season progresses. The running game spec, and a lot of that's on the back of the O-line. I thought the O-line, that was their best game of the season by a mile.
Yes, and when you're opening up holes like that, that tells you. And I didn't think there's always going to be a little pressure, but I thought that Trey Ford had commensurate amount of time to make plays. You know what I mean? He wasn't running. We've watched him run for his life at times. He was not running for his life. So their pass blocking is more than adequate. And I thought the run blocking yesterday was really good. I don't know what did they rush for yesterday? I didn't see the stat. But I mean, that one, whatever that was,
70. He had a 74-yard rush from Rankin.
74, yeah, from Rankin. So sure, that's going to boost your numbers. But no, listen, I'm not a football expert, but I think it's pretty clear. If an offensive line's no good, the offense can't operate. They can't pass it, they can't run it, they can't operate. When I see an offensive unit yesterday that's putting up points, they put up over 30 points. They operated, they ran the ball nicely, they passed the ball nicely. It tells me that everybody's getting protected, the holes are getting open, and they're doing it without Beard. Beard's not playing yet, and he's one of their top guys. So, that's how you build your football team. If you lose both lines of scrimmage, Jay, you lose football games. And they were winning the offensive side of it anyway yesterday.
Yeah, no, the Elks had quite a few big plays yesterday offensively. The Rankin run, the Rankin touchdown, the Devon Leak reception for Ford. Like that might have been, and I know that on the broadcast they kept, what a great catch by Leak, which I agree, but that was a perfect throw by Trey Ford. You can't throw that into coverage any better right in the hands of his receiver. It was and I couldn't believe everyone's like, what a great catch. I'm like, yeah, what about the throw from Trey Ford? Don't tell me he can't throw a dime, because that was perfect in stride. He can't throw that ball any better.
Well, I thought the first game, I was at the first home game of the year, and one of my complaints was he didn't throw it downfield. Every pass was 9 yards, 8 yards, 12 yards. I thought you can see his confidence growing, right? I guess confidence in his receivers and confidence in his arm and his ability to make the right play. So listen, it's a CFL. You got to throw the ball downfield. The ball's got to sail 20, 25 yards in the air in the Canadian Football League. You only got 3 downs to get anywhere. So that's just another part of his game, Jay. It's improved in 4 games this year. I don't know who's calling his plays, if he's calling them or the offensive.
Oh no, he's not calling them. No, God, no.
But they're finding, like I thought yesterday, they ran some screens early in the game that put the ball in Leak's hand, in Rankin's hand, with time to, with space and time and space, right? To use your feature guys and get the ball in your best guy's hands with a little bit of space to run. So I think everyone's kind of figuring each other out. They're only 1-3, but let's see where we are, a few games from now. Who knows, man?
We'll see, buddy. Spec, have yourself a good one. We will chat with you at demand.
Sounds good, man.
There you go. That's the Spec Report brought to you by GS Construction. When we come back, head coach of the Elks, Mark Killam, will join us on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Legacy Heating and Cooling jingle auditions, take 1 for Gene Principe. Hey, thanks for being on time.
I'm always punctual. Now, how about some cool beats while I drop the heat?
Ready when you are.
Tall legacy, tall legacy.
Nice.
Boom! I'm a musical genius.
Legacy's gonna love this for AC season.
What's not to love with no interest and no Principe payments for 1 year?
Are you always like this?
Yep, unlike Legacy, I never know when to cool it.
Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Edmonton Electrical Solar Team is now making a play for sustainability and savings. They're specialists in powering up for a greener future.
That's the strategy, designing and installing high-efficiency solar panels. They're helping homes and businesses combat rising utility costs by harnessing the power of the sun.
A smart move for efficiency and the environment. Hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
New crust alert at Papa John's. Your favorite cheese meets your favorite pizza in the new cheddar crust pizza for only $17.99. Papa John's pizza makers created the perfect addition to their crust by melting garlic and herb seasoned cheddar cheese right on top of their fresh original dough that's made with 6 simple ingredients. Try a one-topping cheddar crust pizza today for only $17.99. You better hurry though, because it's only for a limited time. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, proudly locally owned and operated.
Diablo Boots sells only Canadian-made work and biker boots made by Canada West. No American or boots made in China, so no tariffs. All of Diablo's boots have replaceable soles and heels for longer life. Sizes 6 to 14 triple E. Buy quality, buy Canadian. And support Canada West and Diablo, the 2 best names in the boot business. So save on boots by Save On Foods. That's Diablo Boots, 3340 Gateway Boulevard on the east side of Save On Foods. Buy Canadian. They're terrific.
Every morning, you look in the mirror and see less of yourself. Hair loss can feel like losing a part of who you are.
But it doesn't have to be that way. Hi, I'm Dr. Vance Elliott. At Advanced Hair and Skin Surgery, we understand the pain of hair loss. Our advanced hair restoration solutions won't just bring back your hair. They'll help you face the mirror with confidence.
Good morning, you sexy beast. Visit drvanceelliott.com today, because it's time to be the man you remember.
Portions of this hour brought to you by your Alberta GMC dealers. Employee pricing is on now at GMC. Get up to $12,000 off on a 2025 Sierra 1500 Crew Cab Denali Ultimate. Only at gmccanada.ca.
Sports Radio is back. The Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
At 28.3, welcome back, Jason Gregor. Declan Cougar, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, Oilers Nation YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Some of you get the app, so you're out of the city, out of the province, heck, even out of the country. You can download it, the Radio Player app, and take the show wherever you are. So thanks for joining us as we get to our big guest of the day, brought to you by Silent Rides Charter Company, one of Alberta's premier bus charter companies with state-of-the-art motor coaches that safely take your team or group to the next destination. Check silentrides.ca for more information. And we are joined by the head coach of the Edmonton Elks, fresh off his first CFL victory as a head coach, and got the Gatorade shower and looked more than happy to get the shower. Mark Killam joins us. Coach, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me.
I probably a Gatorade never tasted or felt so good for you.
It was a cool moment, you know. As a coach, that's kind of like a bucket list thing.
Yeah.
And, I was grateful for the guys for doing it, but more just happy for the team for the win.
Well, and, it's kind of a long time coming. You guys have been close in some of the games. I look back at that. If the league kick return isn't brought back, you never know. Winnipeg, I thought you guys really dominated the third quarter. And then, the fourth quarter is maybe a team that's been to 5 Grey Cups in a row and one that's, still learning to find its ground. But you need to get a win. At the end of the day, you want progress, great. But like, how much different do you think it can be for the players, the coaches, just to exhale now that you have a win?
Yeah, I think, we were getting better every week. I think that's important, and we try to emphasize that stuff. But, you're hopeful that, now that you've got kind of the goose egg off your back, you can turn the corner and start reeling in the guys that are in front of you for sure.
So you look at kind of how your team's gone, Mark, and, it's been a month because of obviously you had a buy-in there. Where do you feel you've seen as the head coach the biggest improvement over the last month?
I think communication, playing together is, all across the board, specifically in the secondary. I would think that, those guys are coming together, and, we had a couple, different combinations early, and, we kind of settled on one, and, the guys are really making it work. I think, I think Trey's grown. Our offense has grown. I think, they've kind of bought into the, how we ask everybody to be involved in the run blocking and the run game, all those things. And, I think that we've got Devon Leake going again, and I think he looks scary, and I think the rest of the league sees that too.
Well, you of course as a special teams coordinator, I remember when you got hired, you're like, oh, don't worry, special teams will be a main focus. And I could probably make the argument it's maybe been the most consistent part of your team. I know that Blanchard missed 2 kicks early, but since then he's been perfect. Your return games has given you guys a lot of good yards on a lot of different ones. What have you liked specifically about your return game from start to finish this year?
Yeah, I think, we had a mandate to get League going. I mean, the guy is an explosive playmaker. He's dynamic with the ball in his hand. And, it's not just one guy. We've got a really, really good group of core special teams players on our football team. And, those guys buy in every week. They play a physical style of football. They're committed to learning the techniques that we're teaching and getting better every week. So I think that those guys have really been doing a nice job. And, the results are, now we're making some plays.
Mark Hillam joins us, head coach of the Green and Gold. Mark, I know that it was a concerted effort for you guys, everybody as a head coach, OC, quarterbacks coach, to want to develop Trey Ford. That maybe he didn't get a ton of development in his first few years and get him more comfortable in the pocket. And we're seeing that. Like, heck, he's barely scrambled the last 2 games. How do you find that? It looks like he's a guy who wants to show everybody, hey, I can stick here. This is what they want me to do. But at the same time, like, how do you balance that by saying, well, we don't want to completely lose one of your best assets, which is your ability to just run away from guys at times?
No doubt. I mean, we're still 100% committed to developing Trey. I think, he's getting more comfortable in Jordan's offense as far as, going through his read progression. You can see that. Everybody can see that. Jordan's more comfortable with the stuff that, Trey likes to do and calling and designing game plans for Trey. So that's definitely part of it. I think he does want to show it. He's always wanted to prove it, that he can sit in the pocket and throw the football. I like that he has the off-schedule stuff in his back pocket at all times. I think that makes him dangerous. I definitely don't want him to lose it because I feel like you have to have off-schedule plays in football games to keep the defense off balance. But, it's been neat to see his progression as he's still learning. 100% he is. And, he gets better every week that he plays.
Mark, can you kind of go into detail the decision and what the plan was to bring in Cody Fajardo? It's 22-3. Trey hadn't thrown an incompletion yet at that time, and you brought him in. What was kind of the deeper reasoning to make that move at that time, and then later in the game again?
Yeah, well, we had a plan early in the week that was communicated to those guys that we thought getting Trey to step out of the fire for a minute and observe it from a different angle, see if that could help at all. I mean, Cody's an 11-year vet with a ton of experience that we want to rub off on Trey as well. So that was definitely part of it. At the time, we had gone 2 and out and then 3 and out And then that's when we put Cody in. So, I mean, we thought, it was kind of the right time. We kind of had a ballpark of where we wanted to do it, but there wasn't anything more than that, just trying to get him to step out to see it from a different perspective. And then the plan was to go back to him.
So when he sees it from a different perspective at that time, what is it? What do you think you can see different from the sidelines that maybe you don't see from behind center?
I don't know. Maybe, you can see contour. You can watch Cody operate. Maybe the way that Cody goes through his reads to some of the similar looks that you're seeing when you're out there. I think everyone wants to create this into a major storyline, but nobody really talks about when you rotate defensive linemen through or receivers through or anything like that. We are committed to Trey Ford, and Trey knew the plan, and, both guys handled it like pros all week. We're just trying to give him all of the tools to get better. And we're also committed to using our entire roster to win football games.
What did you make of your short yardage game? Because it's been pretty good, but yesterday it struggled. What happened in short yardage?
Yeah, we weren't getting the movement that we've been getting lately. I mean, even the one that we got, we barely got it. So, I mean, I kind of got gun shy away from that a little bit later. I mean, I think we had a, third and half a yard late in the game that we elected to punt on just because we weren't getting the movement. So, I mean, it's always a combination. It's never just one guy. We tried a couple different things as far as where we were trying to hit those. And, credit Ottawa. They did a better job of us on that play. But just like after every game, Jason, you go back and you look at the corrections of things you can do better, win or lose. And, that's definitely something that we've got to be better at moving forward.
When you mentioned like your short yardage has been pretty good, I thought, and I don't know, because I know you grade out after all the games, you grade players out. So I don't know if you've had time yet to do it, Mark, but from my perspective, that might've been the best game your offensive line has played from start to finish. What did you think of your O-line's play, and what did you like about it?
Well, they're playing as a group. I mean, I kind of mentioned it before. You go back to the BC game, man, we weren't getting a hat on a hat in the run game at all. No blocking on the perimeter. We come back after that game. We challenge our receivers. We challenge our everybody on offense to really dive into this run game of how we want to do this and the team concept behind it. And you've seen the progression every week. And I think, if you watch the perimeter blocking yesterday, our receivers are 100% committed to what we're doing. And it's a beautiful thing to watch. And I credit them all the time because I think, when you see receivers blocking in the run game, that's a definition of offensive toughness because those guys, that's not really what they love to do. You know what I mean? They want to create plays. They want to be, vertical threats, do all those fancy things that receivers love to do. But when they get gritty and are going face to face with linebackers to get your run game going, that's a beautiful thing.
Beard, my understanding, is getting close, Mark, and has been pushing to maybe get in this weekend. What's this week going to look like for him? What does he have to do to get the green light? Because, players want to play. I'm sure as a coach, you know that. But, with his injury, there's always a risk of re-injury. And so how do you balance it this week to ensure if he can play or not?
Yeah, I mean, well, he's got to get cleared by the doctors first. I mean, I know he can say he wants to play as much as he wants, but he's got to be cleared first. Calves are tricky, especially when you're 300 pounds. David's an excellent football player. He's an excellent leader. He's an excellent man. Obviously, we are better with him in the lineup, but it's got to be safe for the player to go. And, then you're never going to hold a guy back. If he's cleared and he feels good to go, then, we're going to back him up.
And once he comes back, what's the biggest thing he will add to the O-line?
Well, he adds leadership. He adds some size. We love Mark Cordy, but David Beard's bigger at center. So, I mean, he adds that as well. So you always want to have size with those boys, but, he's just got a presence about him. He's got a presence about himself. He's been there, done that over and over. And he's a real anchor up front for those guys.
Mark Killam joins us, head coach of the Edmonton Elks. And Mark, I know for coaches, it's rarely any downtime, but are you able to just kind of savor it? You had a long path, you worked for this, and now you finally have a win as a head coach. Did you take a moment or two or three to kind of soak it all in and realize the journey was worth it?
Last night I was really thankful. I had a lot of family at that game. My parents were there, so I was thankful that they were able to share that moment. We came back to my house last night, just celebrated a little bit together. And I had my sisters from out of town were here with their family. So yeah, it was good. But then, the nature of the business, this morning we go in, we corrected, and now we moved on. We're on a 7-day week. So we spent the second half of the day game plan in BC, and that's kind of how it goes.
So quickly, looking ahead to game plan in BC, you've seen them once. That was early when neither team had a lot of scouting on them. And now we saw them. They had a great comeback in Montreal. What differences do you expect that you can show the Lions that you didn't show them in week one that you can show them moving ahead? How much better do you feel your team's prepared to handle what they can handle, but also maybe give them some looks they're not prepared for?
Yeah, week one, you never really know what you're going to see in week one, so I think that we're a completely different team, maybe not a completely different team, but definitely a better team that has a better understanding of what we're trying to accomplish in all three phases. BC has a guy under center though that can ruin the game. So you've always got to account for Nathan Rourke. He makes everybody around him better. So we're going to have our hands full, but we're excited to play them at home, not after a Snoop Dogg concert where they're jazzed up. So they're going to come here and play, and we're trying to make Commonwealth a tough place to play again.
Well, Mark, congratulations on your first victory. Hopefully it's the first of many. I want to ask you one last one because, we talk a lot about your DBs are pretty young overall. And, JC Sherritt is a rookie defensive coordinator. Now, he's been a coordinator at other levels, but not at the CFL. Kind of from a coaching perspective, how excited are you just about how the more comfortable not only your players but your staff gets with one another, that you feel that you're a team that can genuinely make some big improvements just from gaining more experience as the season goes along?
Yeah, it's exciting. It's, JC lives ball. So, part of my job is to help coach the coaches, I guess you could say, guide them, give them feedback. I sit in their meetings, how they handle something. If there's something that I need to say, I'll ask them, hey, what do you think about this? And then, all of those guys on our staff are open to suggestion. There's no ego in our room. We all just want the same thing. And I think that makes it, easy and good to work with those type of people. Everybody's open to improving. JC as a play caller has grown in 3 games. Even I can see it, but it's exciting for them because there was a lot of heat. I was proud of the defense for being on the field and really closing an opponent out. And that's full credit to his staff and his players.
Well, Mark, enjoy the week and we'll see you down at the field. Thanks for your time.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Mark Killam, head coach of the Green and Gold. They get their first win. And there is a lot of progression going on. I know it's difficult to be patient when the organization has had, the struggles they've had here. And you'd want that to speed up. The truth of the matter is you have a rookie head coach, you have a rookie DC, you have a rookie secondary coach. You got lots of young guys in lots of different positions. This is a team that's going to improve as the season goes. There's no question they're going to improve as the season goes along. And I understand fans don't want to wait another year. I totally get it. And that's why that win was huge, I think, on Sunday. And if you can get a win against BC now you're in the mix. You're legitimately in the mix. And you say, okay, here we are. And we believe we're a team that's going to gain more experience. Our defensive coordinator is going to be able to call the games better just from his own experience during the season. And that's why, man, if they could find a way to win against BC, it sets themselves up to stay in the hunt. You lose that game, and then you really got to fight to get back, right? If you win that game, it's BC. That's the team you're chasing. Then you got Saskatchewan. That's obviously going to be a tough game, no question. Probably one where people wouldn't expect them to win, and that's okay. I think actually, they have a bye first, then they would be in Saskatchewan. So think about that. If you could go into the bye week with 2 consecutive wins, that would be massive, right? Then you got Saskatchewan, then you got Hamilton and Montreal. Are the Elks on I got to double. No, it's not a 3-gamer because they go to Saskatchewan, then they're home, and then they go back. I thought they might have a 3-game road trip. That would be good. So they do not. We'll take a quick break. We got a lot of texts on the green and gold, on the Oilers, and more on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
On the Rocks, the party never stops.
Check it out.
Mondays, bingo tunes.
Tuesdays, tacos and tequila.
Wednesdays, it's wings and karaoke.
Shake what your mama gave ya with salsa lessons on Thursdays and the best Latin DJs.
Plus, live music every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, along with DJ Kenny K.
Hold on, let's not forget $5 happy hour, 7 days a week.
Your bar, your party. You're on the Rocks.
On the Rocks.
Chat, Brab, and 118th.
When you look at a pipe, we just see a pipe. But at GS Construction, we know it's not just a pipe. It's the future water flowing to a growing family's home, or the sewer line for a new school. At GS Construction, we know every trench we dig connects people to what matters. And if you'd like to be part of that vision of making a better future, we're hiring. Right now, GS Construction is looking for experienced foremen to join our team. So apply today at gsconstruction.ca. GS Construction, underground with purpose.
Breaking news, McDonald's international menu items are vanishing. McPizza Bites missing in Italy. Big Rusty stolen from Germany. Teriyaki chicken sandwich disappears in Japan. And a Biscoff McFlurry blackout in Belgium. Oh, this just in. We can now confirm the stolen favorites have resurfaced at McDonald's Canada. The international menu heist. Try them all while you can. For a limited time in participating McDonald's in Canada.
Canada's biggest appliance sale is at the Brick. Get up to $1,000 off select major kitchen appliances. Convertible fridge freezer start at just $199. Barbecues start at just $299. Get up to 60% off clearance models and below cost scratch and dent items. In-store only. Plus, pay 0% interest on appliances until 2029. Best of all, they'll beat any competitor's advertised price. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
Back by popular demand, the Operation 36 Junior Golf Program at Cattail Crossing Golf Club. Designed for kids ages 5 through 17, it combines instruction and on-course play, focusing on technique, strategy, and course management. Taught by certified CPGA pros. Only $325 for 4 weeks of instruction, plus 4 9-hole rounds of golf. Operation 36, Wednesdays 5:30 till 7:30 p.m. through August. Register at cattailcrossing.ca. Click on Junior Program or call 780-973-6686.
It's happened again, and construction season is in full swing. Job delayed, money lost, and clients disappointed because your rigging failed and it wasn't inspected. Don't let this happen to you. Have your lifting slings, fittings, hoisting tools, and safety harnesses checked with Titan Supply. Titan Supply offers certified on-site and in-house rigging inspections and service, so they can repair it, replace it, and recertify it. Titan Supply in Edmonton, Grand Prairie, Red Deer, and Calgary, and at titansupply.ca. Lift, dig, haul.
Imagine a family get-together where the smiles are as genuine as the conversations. That's the feeling you get at Nisku Ford, a family-owned dealership where finding a new Ford feels just like catching up with old friends.
Make sure to swing by Nisku Ford in July to take advantage of rates as low as 0%, or choose rebates as high as $6,000 on 2025 models.
The coffee's on, so drive into Nisku Ford or visit niskuford.ca today. Above expectations.
Portions of this hour brought to you by On the Rocks. Jump on OTR's party shuttle buses to Elks games, Riverhawks games, and concerts at Commonwealth. To see all upcoming bus events, visit ontherocksyags.com.
Sports Radio is back. The Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Declan Cougar, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca. Josh Fenwick running everything at Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Hope you are having an awesome Monday. Games tonight to watch out for. Well, if you're a Wimbledon fan, you can check out Wimbledon. Also, you have MLB, the Jays, looking for their 9th consecutive victory. Games that matter, I guess, in the out-of-town scoreboard. Tampa Bay is taking on Detroit. Detroit is good. They are really good. Boston, I guess, if you look at the team that is in 7th in the AL, they're 6.5 behind Toronto. They are at home and losing 1-0 to Colorado. And yeah, that's Shohei's not playing tonight. Any other noticeable games? Not really. Well, Arizona, San Diego, not really. Oh yeah, Ohtani is playing. They're in Milwaukee, so I guess that'd be it. But the Jays, they're just underway now in the top of the first as red hot George Springer is set to go. Lots of text flying in still. Hey, Greg's really like Killam's enthusiasm. I loved how excited he was after the Gatorade shower. He just gave his guys the biggest bear hugs. You can tell his players like him. I think that's something that matters a lot. That one comes in from Coach Cal. Hey, boys, I didn't go to the Elks game, but I'm going to the next one. 2 kick return touchdowns. As a special teams player in high school, I'll tell you, that gets my juices flowing. From Rick. Well, there you go. Why not? I get it. We'll get Declan's thoughts. Of course, Deck here from Sports 1440, also one of the hosts at Elks Nation. Him and Eddie Steele, they got the 2 pods. Give us a quick teaser on the pod you guys dropped today.
Yeah, great episode as always. Elk Central comes out the morning after games. We really view it as a post-game pod, so we go down quarter by quarter, play by play. We break down what we like, what we didn't like, give our players of the game, offensive, defensive side of the ball, a little bit of a look ahead. And this week, just really, really positive offensively. Like, we're really, really happy with what our seeing. Obviously, you talked about Trey with his perfect QBR. That's huge. The offensive line, I completely echo your sentiments. I think they had their best game as a unit by far. Like, I talked to Justin Rankin after the game, and he kind of made a quip. He's like, listen, on that 74-yarder, you could have scored that. That's how big the hole was. And I thought the line played great. They protected Trey. Can't come into the game with the 3rd most sacks given up in the league, only 1 given up. Again, not some crazy vaunted defensive line, but still, it's huge. And then obviously busting ranks hole like that. And I just thought as a unit, they played really good. And one thing I'd kind of been, saying, and I think people had been echoing was, where's Curly? Where's Curly? What's Curly been up to? And this was kind of the first game where I was like, they didn't really need him. Like, Trey Ford completed passes to 8 different receivers. Stephen Dunbar Jr. has kind of emerged as the go-to number 1 target in that receiving group. And then Justin Rankin, who we think of as a power back, not really a guy in passing sets, has been phenomenal in the passing game. He had 69 yards receiving yesterday, led the team on 4 catches, I think it was. So yeah, really, really positive offensively. Now defensively, still some things you got to shore up. Ottawa was only averaging 19.8 coming into that game. They give up 33. I got 26 technically because 1 comes on the punt return. So you got to share that up. Defensively, I thought the penetration from the line was better, but you got to actually get to the quarterback. And Drew Brown's good. He gets the ball out quick. And then the secondary, finally, tackling, I thought there was a lot more intensity. I think the tackling still needs to be a little bit sure.
Yeah.
But finally, a pass breakup by way of Kobe Williams. Would love to get an interception mixed in here. And overall, really, really, really good offensive performance. And I think it gives people a lot to be happy about because defense wins championships, but offense puts butts in the seat. Winning puts butts in the seat too, but offense puts butts in the seat. And Edmonton's doing great on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, well, you know what? They made some big plays, which were key. I love Rankin's honesty. Like, you watch that replay, it was a massive hole, and he just, he's got breakaway speed for sure, and so that helps. He made the big catch. Like, where he should be applauded was his touchdown reception, where he just broke tackles, and that was the key there. What did you make of the defense?
Yeah, defensively, one of the notes I had was that it seems like 7 out of every 10 plays defensively, it's the 3rd guy in who makes the tackle, which isn't great. Like, tackling is one of those little things that should be easy. It should be muscle memory. It should be, listen, it's a professional league. Guys are going to make you miss, but it shouldn't be the 3rd guy in 70% of the time or whatever. Like, I don't have the actual stats in front of me, but that's what it seems like watching the ball. I still question, some of the coverage sets. I think in the secondary, like, I think there's a lot of really talented guys there, and they just get zoned up so soft constantly. Like, Ottawa didn't take advantage of it the same way, say, a Montreal did, but I still think there's problems there. And then, listen, just getting to the quarterback, like, penetration is great, and Ottawa didn't run the ball very well. They're not a great running team, I don't think. They didn't run the ball well, but you want to get to Drew, and you want to put them in 2nd and longs by way of a quarterback sack. Ottawa shot themselves in the foot with some penalties here, which was great, but offensively, things are rolling, man. Offensively, they can hang with anybody in the league. It's defensively where they need to shore it up. And you get a team team, like I said, like Ottawa, averaging under 20 points a game this season, they explode for 33 on you. You get the win. It's awesome. First win of the season at home. Crowd is popping. It's great. But defensively, that's what you need to work on moving forward.
Yeah, I look at the Elks, and I still think at times like they'd be 2nd and 12, and they'd have a lot of their secondary guys 15 yards deep.
Yeah.
Right. And I just, you can throw an undercut for 8 yards, 9 yards, and then just get yak yards to get the first down.
Especially with the tackling for the Elks defense. Like they're not making first tackles. So
Yes.
on a play like that, like when it's really hard to cover ground, especially against a guy, like if you're a wide receiver and you know you're going up against soft coverage every time, like you've worked out what cut moves and what juke moves you're going to make before you get the ball. Like, you know which direction you're going, you know how you're going to plan your feet because you've had a chance to work through this all game and plan for this all game because that's the coverage they're running. So yeah, now like the other side of the coin on there is if you get beaten press and the safeties, like let's say you're on the weak side, you get beaten press and safeties cheating to the strong side.
Yeah,
it could be 6, but but you gotta trust your corners and you got to trust your defensive halves to be physical in there and get them beat them off the line.
What did you think of Garnes? I thought he actually made a few pretty good open field tackles last night.
Jalen Garnes, he was, you must have listened to the Elks Central podcast this morning, Jason, because he was my defensive player of the game. Jalen came in last week against Winnipeg. That was his first game starting this season. Yeah. And he had the roughing the passer on Zach Collaros, which extended the drive. And then he was the one who got beat on Nick Dempsey's touchdown. And I don't kill him for either of those plays. Nick made a great play and he was there in coverage. And then the roughing the passer, like, okay, yes, you get him high, but it's letter of the law. But Jalen, he was my defensive player of the game. I think he had 9 defensive tackles. No other Elk had more than 4. And the thing I really clocked about Jalen that I really appreciate is he cares when he misses a tackle. Like, he cares. He's in his head about it, not in a way that he's going to get off his game, but in a way that you know and you feel he's not going to make that mistake again. And he loves to fly around out there. And I get it. Like, he's a guy who just came into the starting lineup, right? Mm-hmm. It took someone getting cut for him to get a shot as a starter, and he wants to make the most of it. And he's flying around out there, and he's playing with 2 other really good linebackers with Niles and Nick as well, but he is making the most of it. And another thing is, the Elks drop their Sam into coverage a lot. Like, they generally have, first it was Cordell and now it was Jalen. Like, both guys are kind of natural DBs. So they like to play their Sams because they play so much zone. They like to have them in that middle drop on the strong side because they want their Sams to be fast and be able to flow to the ball, which is what you have to do to that. And Jalen does it really, really well. He's a speedy, aggressive guy who's built like a DB, but he hits like a linebacker, and that's why he's playing there.
Yeah, no, he is. He fits the bill. I thought he had a really strong game.
Yep.
If there was one other concern about the defense, is you're going up against an Ottawa team that gave up a lot of sacks and you didn't come away with one.
Yep. It's the biggest issue is not getting to the quarterback. Like, what least amount of I think it's the least or second least amount of sacks in the league for this Elks team.
Yeah.
But one from the starting defensive line in 4 games. Like, that is quite simply not good enough. I mean, this is a defensive line that essentially won Toronto a Grey Cup last year. A lot of big money paid to a lot of guys. They have to get to the quarterback. And again, like, listen, Drew gets the ball out quick. I give him that credit. But he got it out quick, all 46 pass attempts that you couldn't get to him once. Like, that is not good enough.
No, to me, it's been an issue basically all year long outside of that third quarter against Winnipeg. And it's something that they're going to have to rectify here. Like, there needs to be, a conversation amongst the, and I don't discount that they don't care. Of course they care. You don't make it to pro without caring, but they just simply got to be better. And sometimes they're getting pressure. And then, like, I'm seeing Drew Brown. We've seen it with like guys who aren't great scramblers that weave through 4 or 5 of the Elks D linemen and get out of it. And so there's another, there's times where they've had them in the backfield deck and they're not taking them down. So I think their tackling from their D line needs to be better. So I don't know what it is, but I'm being surprised by just the lack of actual pressure from their D line this year. It's been a surprise to me. And I know, hey, you're getting wins, but eventually you're going to need that. You're going to need it if they want to get more wins. So we'll touch on that this week. We got lots more. We got a few special guests coming up. Just waiting to get confirmation on them this week. So we'll have another great show tomorrow and Wednesday. Have yourselves a lovely, lovely Monday night. Let's get to Declan Kruger and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by 01 Hockeyology right in West Edmonton Mall. Two miniature rinks, Great off-ice, on-ice skills, shooting, edge work. Improve your game. Sign up. It's a $300 membership for a month. It's unbelievable value to get your kid from U9 all the way to U18 in. Check it out, 01.ca. That's ZER1.ca.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
One final time from me tonight, Edmonton Oilers news in case you missed it. Dustin Schwartz will not be returning as Oilers goalie coach following the end of his contract with the team. In the NHL, the Philadelphia Flyers have signed defenseman Cam York to a 5-year, $25.75 million deal. That one carrying an AAV of $5.15 million. In the MLB right now, plenty of games on. The games with scores, Tigers and the Rays. Tigers lead that one 2-1 in the bottom of the fifth. Red Sox lead the Rockies 3-1 in the top of the third. Blue Jays in action, just finishing up the first inning. They're currently tied 0-0 with the Chicago White Sox. News in the NBA is Magic star Paolo Banchero has agreed to a 5-year maximum rookie contract extension. That one could reach up to $287 million. This is the first deal to include a player option of the rookie max caliber since 2021 when it was Luka Doncic and Trae Young. Indiana Pacers have confirmed that Tyrese Halliburton will not return next season. He will focus on rehab after his Achilles tear in Game 7 of the finals. And Wimbledon news is Grigor Dimitrov retired from his match against Jannik Sinner earlier today at Wimbledon. It is the first time in the Open era anyone has retired from 5 consecutive Grand Slams. He was leading the world number 1 2-0. That's going to do it for us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Up next is Fox Sports Radio. I'm Declan Kruger, and this has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
The sun is shining, the weather's warm, and some of Edmonton's favorite sports are back in season.